line that we have been tracking. So what does this mean? This likely means now that at least our southern counties of Racine and Kenosha will be under a severe thunderstorm warning with time. Do we see that extended into Milwaukee? That is to be determined at this point. Again, flooding is the overarching threat. I would not be surprised if we have more flash flood warnings coming into play. I think that we probably will. So we need to check our basements. You saw Holly's report there, that tire camera, quite disturbing with all the water there on the roads. So flooding is the overarching threat, but severe weather also a threat here as we go throughout the night. In fact, Rob, what are they saying with that warning down there?
Let's check that.
I'm assuming they're tracking strong winds. I'm interested to know if they're talking about any rotation.
Yeah. Let me bring that up and we can take a look right now and see what they're talking about. So yeah, this is they've issued that severe thunderstorm warning for that area right through until 6:30. They're looking at 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts and of course the heavy rain with that. Yeah, they're not getting too many details coming out of the National Weather Service in Chicago for that at the moment, which is good. But they are talking about that being located along a line extending from near Sharon to Poplar Grove and then over to the Oregon area and moving east-northeast at 55 miles an hour top. So this is moving along pretty quickly.
It's moving quick.
Toward us.
Yes, and the plus side, though, is it'll be in and out fast,
That's a good point, because any lingering with this would be very, very challenging.
Absolutely. And the plus side is with it moving, not to say that we can't get tornadoes out of this. We certainly could. But the supercellular tornado threat is down to the south in Illinois. And so we're not going to be dealing with, I don't think, any large type, circulations or anything like that. And again, the window even narrower. But notice, this is interesting, Rob, because just in the last few frames, you see how stout this line is getting.
Yeah.
And so it's strengthening for sure. And I think the tornado watch is perfectly placed, but it's even strengthening into Waukesha County. So, we still have a narrow potential for strong storms into Milwaukee. But I think once this main line pushes by, we're going to be doing much, much better here. I think we're very fortunate in the fact that it's developing where it is, in that it's narrowing our window of severe weather.
Yeah, for sure. And as you can see as I zoom in here, Tom, with some of the heavier rainfall that's now over East Troy and Lake Geneva, and that is moving again off to the east-northeast. But as we slide the map farther north and west, the rainfall rate's even heavier as we get into the Rockford area and south, getting along that 39 there corridor. And that too is headed our way at a pretty good clip. So I'm pretty concerned about these pockets of heavy rain continuing over almost the same spot, because you saw what was happening with Holly in the live shot there with the water up over the wheel well. That hits the same spots. We're talking about a pretty significant flash flood potential.
Absolutely. And I think that's the overarching threat, right, as we go throughout the night. Now, our northern counties, you're still getting rain, but nothing like we're seeing down to the south. So, again, most of this is I-94 in South Jefferson County. You're not doing too bad. Oh, Rob, I'm glad you're turning the lightning on here.
I just wanted to check it, Tom, but it completely obliterates the radar, which kind of tells the story all by itself.
Yeah, and that's why we're getting all the thunder with it. But we've also had reports of lightning-induced fires. And that's important as well, in that we talk about severe weather, right? And first our mind goes, tornadoes, right? Then our mind goes to damaging winds and hail. Well, one of the factors that is not considered in a severe thunderstorm warning is the lightning, or the lightning frequency. All right, so you can get crazy amounts of lightning, as we're getting with this storm, and it will not trigger a severe thunderstorm warning, even though it's going to sound like, the world's ending around you with all the lightning and thunder, right?
Here we have an interesting printout, so we'll see what's going on with that at the moment here.
So this is now, here we go, a new severe thunderstorm warning for Racine and Kenosha counties. I'll turn the beeping off here. And that's for 60-mile-per-hour winds, and that is until 6:45. So exactly what we thought, Rob, right?
Yeah.
With, the extension here. So this is the entirety of Racine and Kenosha, and this is until 6:45. Again, 60-mile-per-hour winds. So what they're doing here, what the National Weather Service is doing, is they're warning all along the line, the strengthening line of thunderstorms. And again, this is until 6:45, and that's telling, because what that means is the front side of the line of thunderstorms, which will be the strongest part of the line, kind of like we had yesterday afternoon, should be out over the lake by 6:45 to 7 o'clock. And then the worst of the storms are done. Now, what's not being painted on here is the flood risk. And I think that is high, right, Rob, as we head towards the next
listen to this.
hour.
We just got a ham radio report, and they're one of our most trusted spotters out there, as you know, in Walworth County, thanks to Kevin there through the National Weather Service, of just in 15 minutes picked up 1.39 inches worth of rain in Elkhorn. At 5:30 to 5:45, according to Kevin, 1.39 in Elkhorn.
In 15 minutes.
That's the report from Kevin, and because he's a ham operator, one of our trusted spotters out there, I'm going to take it at its face value. Can you imagine that coming down?
4-inch an hour rain rates.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at the radar. That's incredible.
Let me bring that up right now.
So I think that's even the bigger story, more so than the wind and the lightning and everything else. But this is interesting. Now, Racine and Kenosha, you're getting in on thunder out ahead of this, right? But this is the main line. Lake Geneva. It's loud, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's loud for you right now.
Well,
and
look
East
at the
Troy.
rainfall rates even ticking up a little bit, particularly south and west. All of a sudden, we're getting even bigger radar reports, returns in and around the Rockford area. And I'm really concerned, Tom, that this is going to hit that same area. And if we're getting, like you said, about a 4-inch an hour rainfall rate with this, that is going to cause some very dangerous flooding. So please do not drive into any of this. You can hear the printer going off in the background, so we're seeing more information. In fact, Michael from the National Weather Service is saying consistent downburst signatures right now, Tom. The office radar there picking up, indicating some of the heavier precipitation loaded cells. Still looking to be too stable right now for tornado development, so that's good news. But some of these wind gusts with these microbursts obviously are just as damaging.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw that yesterday, right? We saw that in places like Horicon. So, these are just as dangerous. And here's the issue is a wet microburst, as they're talking about, comes out of these heavy rain showers. So it's going to be raining sideways, right? That type of a deal with very strong winds. The other notification we just got on the printer, if we want to zoom out towards the Milwaukee area as well and show the reflectivity of the radar, 50-mile-per-hour winds on the northern side of this. So this is going to be anywhere from Menominee Falls to Sussex to Waukesha, right into Milwaukee County as well. So right kind of on the northern edge, see how it's perking up here all the way up into Sussex. So Pewaukee, Sussex, Waukesha, all the way down to McGuanago, and then that's going to be heading into Milwaukee County as well. Wind gusts to 50 miles per hour here and torrential rainfall. So again, good news is the stability is there, that we're not seeing tornadic activity, but it's the flooding and it's the lightning and it is also the gusty winds that are coming on through. And I'll tell you, in our control room, if you can start looking at our cameras, which are hopefully pointed to the west, we'll start looking at some of those as well as this line makes its way through, because again, and it's interesting, Rob, because this is really perking up into portions of Waukesha County as well.
Yeah, you can see the heavier rainfall rate right there, and I think you're right, Tom. The cameras would be great right now if we could take a look out toward American Family Field, because that's just about to get into some of the heavier radar returns on this, and that isn't even as heavy as what's been coming down in Elkhorn, where we got that report of more than an inch in just 15 minutes.
It's a crazy report.
In fact, look at this, Tom. It's picked back up again into parts of Walworth County. Look at that right there from Lake Geneva all the way up to 43 along 11. I believe that's where Holly was traveling, correct?
Yeah, in fact, when we can get Holly back, let us know. Rob, can we look as well? Let's get a couple things. Can we look at the hail as well? I'm just wondering if there may be hail embedded within here, or if this is just simply all heavy rain. I think that'll be somewhat telling here as well.
Let's see if there's any storm reports to pass along here. Nope. Here's a flooding report back along here. And we'll see what that kind of ticks up as. Oh, yeah, water. That was the one we talked about before, with that being on the roadway there, for that being an issue as well. All right, here's the hail tracker. And not seeing too much.
Not much. So
interesting.
What that's telling us is all of this is simply heavy rain. So those radar returns, as the radar beam is hitting the heavy rain.
Oh, wow.
It's bouncing back almost as if it's ice because it's raining so much. You know what I
There's
mean?
the nearest hail, confirmed hail is south
Wow,
of
way down
Rockford.
south.
So yeah, that's a really good point, Tom, because when we do get hail, sometimes you can kind of fool the radar into making it look like it's a heavy rainfall event when it's not. And so I think what Tom's trying to point out here is with that lack of hail, these radar returns verify as is, meaning that this rainfall rate that was reported by our ham operator is probably spot on. I mean, of course, we trust this gentleman. He's a very established storm spotter. But at the same time, when you see a big number like that, Tom, you take pause, right? And
that's huge.
You got to wonder. But if you look at the Walworth radar right now, it certainly would verify.
Absolutely. And if we could look at precipitation accumulation, which it'll be interesting to see if let's see here, where I have so many buttons.
It is. Yeah, I know. We've
put
got
on
so
here.
many products.
So many buttons.
Let me take the lightning back off again.
Yeah, so look at that. I mean, you can really see. So this is radar indicated rainfall, where you're seeing the oranges and the reds. I mean, you're really starting to get into that high level rain intensity, which again is supportive of the reports.
There
and the
you
radar.
go. I mean, again, like you said, this is Doppler estimated, right? So it takes the rainfall rate and just makes a calculation from there. But it's usually very accurate. And when you back it up with the ground truth that we're getting from some of our storm spotters, that 3+, maybe 4 inch per hour rainfall rate is definitely verifying into parts of Walworth, Rock County, and then farther south and southwest, you're seeing rainfall rates. Yeah, look at that, 3+, and that's what's headed in for the next little while over those southern counties. Now, it's interesting, Tom. This morning, I was talking a bit about it on Wake Up. A lot of the morning model runs were really focused on, Janesville and the Walworth County getting this 3 or 4 inch rainfall. That definitely is one of the parts of the forecast that is verified tonight.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, why don't we go ahead? Let's just do a quick recap of the warnings that we have in effect right now for folks that may just be joining us. And we have severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for most of Walworth County, although the line itself is now moving into Racine and Kenosha counties. So the Walworth County warning is in effect, I believe, until 6:15. And then the Racine-Kenosha County warnings are in effect until 6:45. And this is for what we call wet microbursts here, and you're seeing Holly Baker's shot. We're going to go to her in a minute. You see Holly's shot there with the heavy rain falling. Again, these severe thunderstorm warnings are in effect for 60-mile-per-hour winds for what we call wet microbursts. So it's downpouring rain, and you get the wind embedded within the rain. Now, in Waukesha and Milwaukee counties, no warnings. However, we could have wind gusts to 50 miles per hour plus heavy rain. And what's not being noted with any of these warnings is the potential for all of this lightning. We have a lot of cloud to ground lightning, and we've had some lightning-induced fires as a result of that as well. And there is a tornado watch for our southern counties that runs till 9. That will be canceled early once all this moves out. However, I just want to kind of ease your mind a little bit. We're not concerned about tornadoes at this point. I think that largely stays south into Illinois.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't want to interrupt you, but John from the National Weather Service just kind of chiming in on our chat here, talking a bit about that. They have actually put in a note about the possibility of a tornado, but John was indicating that there really is kind of a capped atmosphere, both the surface and the mixed layer parcels. So we're not looking at a major concern with that. It's more of a precautionary situation.
So did they put that in as a tornado possible?
Yeah,
tag
tornado
in there?
possible has been added as a tag. So I think it's important that if you're at home and you're seeing that, maybe scroll, or if you're seeing it on your app, maybe you've got some other apps that give you a more detailed readout. There isn't a major concern, but it is definitely something to keep as a heads up.
Yeah, and with this environment, what we call a strongly sheared wind environment, it's not out of the question something can spin up. Is that the main concern? No. And I think, Rod, that's exactly what you were just talking about is, we've had this sort of messaging of, look, we could have large tornadoes today, right? Given the environment, it looks like the large tornadic portion is staying to the south in Illinois. For us, it is sort of this mixed mode, if you will. And look at that. I mean, look at all these tornado warnings down to the south. So that's what we mean.
That could have been us just as easily, right?
Oh, I mean, if this had moved north by 50, 60 miles even, it could have been us. So, yeah. Now, Chicago, very much a concern, and there's a lot going on in Chicago. The Mumford & Sons concert tonight down at Wrigley, which I don't know if we get any updates on that. Please let me know, because I know a lot of folks from southern Wisconsin are heading down to that tonight. I think they're going to have a hard time getting that one in. But that kind of gives you an idea here. But look at this. I mean, in terms of all of the warnings in scope, they're really all centered right here, and then, of course, down to the south as well.
Yeah, look farther south and southwest into areas, west of Bloomington, getting into far western Illinois. And then if we scroll out even farther, it, of course, continues well south and
all
southwest.
along that cold front.
I'm going to go all the way out.
Look at that, all the way down to Oklahoma and Texas. That's wild.
Yeah.
And that's an indicator, by the way, that by 7, 8 o'clock tonight, this is going to be done. So that is good news. So again, we're going to be with you. We're going to be with you here through it all, but we're getting close to the end, and it just began, right? So that's good news.
Yeah, it's very good news, Tom. You're right, particularly with this heavy rainfall rate. I want to go back to that. We'll take the lightning off. I don't mean to giggle here, but there's just so much lightning we can't even see the map. But I'm really concerned about how heavy this rainfall is, particularly as you pointed out. It was a really good thing to check the hail tracker because this isn't a mirage, right? This is legitimate rainfall rates being picked up by the high-tech Doppler imagery, and it is just soaking parts of western Racine and Kenosha County right now. We're looking at this right here. Look at that, Tom. It's just coming down Burlington, and then as you get north of Burlington up toward Highway 20 there, kind of northwest of the Rochester area. I mean, that radar return is just super intense right now.
Absolutely. Can we go back to our Holly Baker? I know Holly has been in Walworth County getting inundated by all of this rain. I want to check in with her.
Oh, wow.
Was that just a lightning strike?
That was good timing.
My goodness. Holly, fill us in. What's going on? Where are you? And, well, I think we kind of know what you're seeing there. Fill us in.
Hi. So, yes, we are continuing to drive. We're now driving on northwest. We are now driving pretty much north, but I'm going to show you what our camera pretty much looks like. This is a look at our front camera, and then this is a look at our back camera. So a lot of the rain is pretty much starting to lighten up in this area. We're starting to finally see where some of those areas have a little bit more of that rain and ponding on the sides of the road. So we do see some areas where there's a little bit more of the ponding, and then we do also see a lot of flood areas just across Walworth County in general. But yeah, we are in the lighter part as far as the rain goes. We're near Elkhorn here, and that's kind of where we're hanging out for a little while, but then we're going to be starting to head back towards the east so that we can kind of get in on seeing what else is going to be happening as this storm continues to push over the lake. But not too much going on at this point. We are starting to see a little bit more of a brighter look. Earlier it was ominous, and it's still very ominous, but it looks a little brighter now that the rain is gone. The visibilities have improved, so we're able to kind of see, like on the sides of the roads, where the ponding is. But not too much going on here. There's a lot of lightning and thunder still going on. It just feels like you're getting a bunch of pictures taken of you.
Okay, now we have a tornado warning.
Oh, now we do.
All right, come on back. We just have a new tornado warning. This is for Racine and Kenosha counties. This just escalated very quickly.
Yeah,
Holly,
there it is.
thank you for that. This is a tornado warning for central Racine and central Kenosha counties.
Yep, you can see it there on the screen right now.
Yep, perfect. Until 6:45. This is for radar indicated rotation. And again, we were just talking about the possibility here of rotation within this, and this just escalated again very quickly. This is a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado over Paddock Lake, moving east at 45 miles per hour. Now, again, this is a look. This is from Sam. Where is Sam located? Sam is in Kenosha, and you are looking west. All right, Sammy, keep that shot up for us, and let's as we take a look at that shot, I'm going to read you some locations, and we're going to kind of deep dive into this here.
And we're also looking at the relative velocity with this as well, and taking a look at that little bulge in the line right there. So that's something to keep an eye on as well. You can see that kind of right along and west of 75 at the moment, and that's certainly showing something to be to be watched. We're looking at that being very active right now. Like you said, Tom, this kind of blew up very quickly.
Very quickly, and it looks like what they're doing, so this is the Paddock Lake area. And so again, just to set the scene real quick, and we need to be very clear here. If you are in central Racine or central Kenosha counties, Really anywhere in the county, effectively anywhere, just east of Burlington, we'll say, and just east of Twin Lakes. Yeah, you see the broad rotation here. So if you are, anywhere from Pleasant Prairie, Sturtevant, Kenosha, Racine, Wind Point, Mount Pleasant,
look at this,
Union
Tom,
Grove.
with the update.
It just updated.
Yeah,
yes.
look at that.
So we have what we're looking at here, but you need to be in your tornado safe location. Let's be very, very clear about that right now. Basement or the lowest level of your home, getting as many walls between you and the outside as possible. This is very concerning. Can we zoom in a little bit more since we're in boxes here?
Really drill down a little bit
let's
farther.
really drill down so we can see this here. That's concerning.
Yeah, you're right.
So here we are, and that's Brighton. Okay, can we take Sam's shot, the sound? There you can hear the sirens going off. So we are near Paris, is where this rotation is right now.
Yeah, right there. So you can see that crossroads there are 45 and 142 is where we're seeing that rotation, as Tom's pointing out. That's just kind of in between Brighton and Paris. And again, there you can hear the siren in the background. Obviously, the siren is not, what you need to wait for. You should be in your safe place right now. Hopefully, you are watching us via Fox Local or some other way in your safe space. If you're not there yet, get there. We do have a tornado warning in place right now for portions of Racine and Kenosha County as we zoom in. That is going to be in place until 6:45. Now, we are tracking this as it makes its way through the area, and the frequent thunder and lightning has obviously been our major focus along with the heavy rain. But right now we have to shift our attention to the potential of this severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado. Now, so far still just radar indicated, but this bowing in the line is just too much to ignore, right?
And that's what the Weather Service is saying here. Let me read out some towns here for you. Paris, 605, which is right now. Summers, 614. Mount Pleasant, 620. Racine, 625. Kenosha, and Pleasant Prairie, you also need to be in your tornado safe spot, although I think that this is going to be maybe just to your north, but it depends because, again, what we're dealing with here is an elongated area of rotation, quite concerning here.
Yeah, let me take the cone off, Tom, and I'll do more of a line, which we would typically do with these
and
kind of
you hear the thunder rumbling, don't you?
And that's
out on
here.
our weather deck as well.
Again, wow, look at that update.
I don't like that right here. I don't like that at all. I tell you what, could we take this full? I really want to take the radar full for a minute, and then Rob, we'll come back.
Let me put it on the velocity, too, so we can show off what's
go to the storm relative velocity. And there we go.
There we go.
And see, right there.
Wow.
Boy, but see, here's the deal. We could have multiple locations along the line, but it's right here, just east of 45 right now. This is not far from Brighton, right over Paris, and we're moving to the northeast at about 45 miles per hour.
Look at how quickly that developed, too, Tom.
I know.
That's a 30-minute loop.
Yes, and we were just talking about how things can rapidly evolve, right? And we were really focused on the rain, and then all of a sudden, boom, here we go. And here's the other deal. Even if you don't see the rotation, these are strong downburst winds associated with straight line winds. So you're going to get that if you don't get a tornado with this, unfortunately. So again, can we zoom in even more? I believe Brighton's going to be right over here, and that's going to be... there's Paris.
Yep.
So again, so it's just moving through Paris right now. Again, if you are in this tornado warning, it's really, really, it's important anytime, right, to take your tornado precautions. But the concern here is this. This is rotation embedded within this strengthening line of storms. What else do we have going on here? Copious amounts of rain, potentially 1, 2, 3, 4 inch an hour rain rates with this. So don't go outside and try to look at this. We are positioning our Sam Kramer at a safe location to try to get a visual on this for us. But again, he is trained in order to look at this. But this is concerning because what you can see here is not only are we seeing the rotation on the radar, but Rob, and you can see it even in the velocity. That dip is a usual indicator of what we call a hook echo on the radar, which is enveloping the spin, and you can actually see that on radar. So this is going to approach Interstate 41 just south of the Kenosha-Racine County line on the Kenosha side. So again, very close to the county line, just to the west or northwest of Summers. Summers, you need to be in your tornado safe spot. Sturtevant, you need to be in your tornado safe spot as well. As again, this is going to cross the interstate somewhere just to the west or northwest of the Summers area. So again, for folks traveling in this area, try to stay out of the county line area here over the course of the next 15, 20 minutes as this continues to cross the area. So again, very concerning because you're enveloped right in the rain. So you're not going to be able to see this, but there is some pretty stout rotation in association here as this continues to move to the east-northeast. And again, this is, okay, oh, here we are. Okay, where are we here, guys? This is 94. Oh, it's Highway 11.
There
Gotcha.
you go. So that's
Okay.
right there in Racine County, Highway 11, where we were looking just recently on the radar. And that, of course, is, wow,
That's
look at that.
Sturtevant.
Very well developed right now.
So you are looking live at a shelf cloud right here. Take that full again, if we could. I just want to kind of do a quick analysis of that because... so we are looking to the southwest here. Thank you. All right, stay on this. Again, folks, in this area, you need to be in your tornado safe spot. What you are looking at here is a well-defined shelf cloud. That is indicative of the squall line itself. But as you take straight a look down to the southwest, you see that downburst there. You see the darker area? That's going to be your very heavy rainfall. That's also going to be where the rotation is going to be with this system. And we need to stay on this shot because this is the core, the dark area that is heading to the northeast. This is the one that's going to cross the interstate shortly. And if there is a possible tornado with this, it would likely be in that dark area there that's going to be crossing the interstate very shortly. So on the front side, you have what is called a shelf cloud here. Yeah. And so that's going to be your strong winds out ahead of the storm. But then that dark area that you see is going to be the couplet, as we call it, that's just about to cross the interstate. So we need to definitely stay with that shot. But Rob, very concerning here as we're heading right into the interstate and right at the end of rush hour.
Well, yeah, exactly. The concern is that here we are, it's 6:10, 6:11 now in the evening. Many folks on that very busy stretch of highway, and this is about to approach that. Whether or not we actually get a verified tornado with this, we are looking at significantly strong wind speeds. Just if we kind of sample this, or what we call query the radar, there's a 59, 60 mile an hour wind gust. You've got this really kind of starting to hammer hard there. And like you said, even if this isn't a verified tornado, the wind speeds, oh wow, take a look at that live shot. Wow.
So we could be right in the middle of this here. Look at that car, like almost stopping.
Right.
On
You're
the
best
interstate.
to get off the interstate, find some shelter. Don't try to drive through that. If you are headed along 41 and you're moving through parts of Racine or Kenosha County right now, take your first exit, get into the nearest, quick trip or whatever's going on there, and just take shelter for a brief period. This is moving quickly, so you'll still get home, and you'll get home, and that's kind of the key.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Look at this.
We have to stay with this shot, guys, because with those high-sided vehicles going through, Tom, and these wind gusts, look at the wind-driven rain, too.
And this is right in the core. So this is 158 that takes you from the interstate right into Kenosha, and you are right at or a little bit south of the immediate tornadic circulation here. Yes, stay with this. Again, folks in Racine and Kenosha counties, you need to be in your tornado safe spot. We will bring you these shots courtesy of the DOT here. My goodness.
Yeah, and if you have friends, it's tough, obviously, with these folks. These drivers are obviously on the road. They're not able to necessarily follow our coverage here. But if you have friends or family and this is their typical route, without distracting them from their driving, you need to let them know that maybe they need to dip off the highway for 20 minutes. Let this cross the interstate because it is a very dangerous drive. You can see, like you were saying earlier, it's raining sideways, and it is just driving that rain. So the visibility on that stretch of the highway has to be very, very very poor. The traction is significantly reduced with the fresh rainfall and potentially hydroplanning, on top of the fact that even if we aren't seeing a tornado move through the area, we're seeing verified or Doppler estimated wind gusts of 50 to 65 miles per hour.
And look at how largely the traffic has stopped. So you're looking northwest here, right? So as that guy just is driving northbound, you're driving into the center of that circulation, which is going to be to the west of Summers, right over the interstate, literally a mile, 2 miles north. And then notice how the southbound traffic has slowed to a crawl on the left-hand side of your screen. They are just coming through the circulation. So now and if you've noticed, you can see here, and you can see the lightning flashing as well. Now it would appear that the heaviest of that circulation has just crossed the interstate, because you'll notice, first of all, while the rain bands are intense, you're not seeing that. You're still seeing that strong west to east component, but it's not quite as strong, which is telling me that the heaviest part of the circulation has just crossed. And I believe, based upon the current radar, that it is very close to Summers right now, and you're very close to the county line. But those northbound drivers are driving right into it right now, and the southbound drivers arguably driving very slow, very cautiously, because they just came out of this thing, and we're just getting a new update here.
Yeah,
in that there is an observed tornado out of this. Stay tuned.
Okay.
We are just getting a report that there is a confirmed tornado by the public near Sturtevant. Again, so this is going to be an observed tornado on the ground near Sturtevant. And again, this is the same location that we were just talking about. We were a little bit farther south along the interstate. But again, Sturtevant, we are getting a report now from the public. We will effort more on exactly what that means. Let's go back to the radar, go back to the warnings.
Let's get back into boxes so we can keep an eye on the live cam, but be able to bring Tom up at least so we can look at that. There, I've got it zoomed in
There's
for
the
you, Tom.
circulation. So just to the southwest of Sturtevant, again, basement or the lowest level of your home, getting as many walls in between you and the outside as possible. This is a confirmed tornado on the ground. We don't have the official report as of yet, just an update from the Weather Service indicating that the public has confirmed that there is a tornado on the ground with this. Hard to see because it's wrapped in rain.
And those can be the most dangerous when they're rain wrapped, because you can't really see it coming. And it is moving quickly, Tom, east at about 45 miles an hour.
The good news is this thing's going to be out over the lake very shortly. But again, Sturtevant, there is a confirmed tornado in the Sturtevant area here. And again, I'm going to make the assumption based on the velocity that it's literally on the west side of town. Right now, possibly 2 cores here, but you need to be in your tornado safe location. And we may have just witnessed on the interstate that circulation blowing through, being on the south side of that circulation. So again, this is an observed or a confirmed tornado on the ground near Sturtevant right now. And again, you are looking at our Sam Kramer shot. Sam is in Kenosha, correct, Brian? Okay, Sam is in Kenosha, so look at the wind picking up there. So the circulation is north of where Sam is currently located. But again, a serious situation here.
And we just got confirms where that was spotted. So Highway 50 and 88th Avenue was where we saw the tornado confirmation come in from. So that's just southeast of the Kenosha Airport. So that's interesting that we did get some confirmation there, as we see many areas of rotation. But that's got to be a different observation.
No, that highway, let's see.
Yeah, that's got to be a different rotation because that would not be anywhere near Sturtevant.
That's nowhere near Sturtevant. So we'll see if we get clarification on that.
Yeah.
But if they did receive a report,
perhaps we're talking about 2 different.
There could be 2 different, which there is a circulation right along the state line that is essentially very close to the state line. So that's also a possibility. That's the one we were tracking, and we may have had on our camera there as well. But again, I also believe that there is one near Sturtevant based upon the radar as well. So Racine.
Well, maybe this was earlier in the rotation times. If you look at it earlier on here, it was just kind of, remember the Kenosha Airport, as Tom knows, but I remember as viewers, is not along the lakeshore or near in the city center area of Kenosha. It's Kenosha County Airport. So it is farther inland. And if you look back 30 minutes, that rotation was a little closer to that part. And then it started to pick up farther north as well. So we've got a couple of areas to keep an eye on. But right now, the key is with that observed tornado in the Sturtevant area. Looks like the rotation's moved it a little farther east of it, right?
That's right. And you're looking live at our Sam Kramer shot. He is in Kenosha, and he is getting pummeled by this storm right now. The strongest of the winds just pushing into Sam's location as we speak. This is going to be out over the lake really within about the next 10 minutes. So we're getting close to the rotational end of this being done. Then it's going to be the flooding threat and the lightning and thunder threat out of this as well. But boy, did this ramp up quickly.
Right.
We are getting a clarification from the National Weather Service right now, but I believe Racine and northeastern Kenosha County, eastern Racine County.
That's definitely where the rotation is now.
That's where the rotation is.
I'm wondering if the reference to Highway 50 and 88 was maybe an earlier observation. That's certainly a possibility. And just to recap some of the warnings that are up on your screen right now, we continue to have that tornado warning in place for Racine and Kenosha County, and that goes through until 6:45. Now, around that, we still have severe thunderstorms as well. So we've got the severe thunderstorm warning in place right through until 6:45. And Tom, we've moved on completely, but the heavy rain is still coming down in many areas. So please don't take that lightly. We've still got torrential rain piling up and, of course, causing issues on area roadways, as we saw earlier, where they're on Holly Baker navigating some of the roads down into Walworth County. So again, if you are in the Racine County area, particularly as Tom's been talking about in that Sturtevant area, actually just now to the east of that, it's your time to get to your safe space.
Yes, and we just got a clarification from the National Weather Service that we're talking about the same storm here. Just because we were talking Sturtevant, we're talking the Kenosha Airport. The observation came when it was near the Kenosha Airport over Highway 50, and then it moved northeast to the Sturtevant area. So that kind of gives you an idea, again, of the path of this. So we're not talking about two areas of rotation. We're talking about the one that was moving in that same direction. So yes, Racine, this is the one that's heading for you as we speak. You need to be in your tornado safe location. This has a confirmed tornado with it right now. And again, it's going to be, as you know, out over the lake very quickly. But Racine and Wind Point, you need to be in your tornado safe location as we speak. Again, this is the area of rotation that is making its way right into the city of Racine right now. Sturtevant, the worst, has cleared you off to the east. Mount Pleasant, Elmwood Park.
All right, we're getting a chaser report coming in here as well, Tom. Let's see here. We've got this one near Union Grove, touchdown near the intersection of Highway 45 and 142. So that is,
and that was
in
at
Kenosha.
6:10. So that was 10 minutes ago.
So that kind of confirms what we were talking about before with this earlier observation, that general track there across central parts of Kenosha County and now into eastern portions of Racine County.
Absolutely. So let's see if we can zoom this out a little bit. I just want to kind of go back just to, again, kind of
get put it into a loop here a little bit?
Sure. Yeah, get the generalized track of this, because, again, we've been talking about just how fast this happened here along this line. And so you can see right there is where, in the western part of the counties, is where it started, and then it began to lift northeast. So again, it was pretty broad rotation around Union Grove, although again, a confirmed touchdown back again within the last 10 minutes in the Union Grove area. That's
a 15-minute loop. So you see how quickly that moved.
Right. So this was really, again, right over Sturtevant and now right into Racine. And again, Racine, this system has a history of producing one or more tornadoes confirmed out of this. Get into your tornado safe spot. This is going to move through very, very quickly. We're going to be done with this in the blink of an eye here. So get in your tornado safe location. Stay there until we give you the all clear. Again, it is so important that you and your family get into that tornado safe spot until this rotation clears you. This has a history of producing tornadoes. It is almost out over the lake, just a sliver of this left, but Racine and Wind Point, you are in that zone right right now as this rotation is pushing out over Lake Michigan. And again, this has a history just within the last 15 minutes of producing tornadoes. This has ramped up so quickly with this line of thunderstorms. We were tracking the flooding out of this, which was the overarching concern. And then all of a sudden, boom, here we go with rotation out of it. And again, the strong, and Milwaukee as well, you're experiencing this intense batch here as well. But the worst of this is just about over the lake. But you can even see it here on the broader composite radar.
I was just going to say, you can see that
right there, that notch.
Hook right there.
Yep, and that is the confirmed tornado that hit near Union Grove around Highway 45 and Highway 42, around that intersection. And that is continuing over Elmwood Park, Racine, Wind Point.
Elmwood Park, home to a lot of our radio partners and their studios in that area. So hopefully they are taking shelter there as well. And this, like you said, Tom, is moving pretty quickly. So it wouldn't surprise me if the tornado warning ends as it moves out over the lake. But for now, definitely get to your safe space if you're not there already. It is fascinating also to look at the intensity of the rainfall, Tom. It is pouring in parts of Milwaukee County, south side, is right along 794 there, and then down into southeastern portions. And I know that's kind of a secondary story with the tornado warning ongoing, but travel in those areas has got to be incredibly challenging right now.
Yes, right along the interstate. Let's take a look at the rotation again, if we could, the storm relative velocity. Let's zoom into this and see if we can kick this thing out over the, boy, we're so close.
Yeah, it's almost
this thing is right over the city of Racine right now, and right over Wind Point, and both of you. And again, you know, within the next, I would say 5 minutes, I think
probably
we're going to,
by the next sweep of the radar.
Right. Exactly. And but again, I mean, how concerning here, this just goes to show how fast these things can develop within lines that we have. I mean, and how the concern just quickly ramped up. And not only that, I'm going to be interested to hear more about these tornado reports, because these are very difficult to detect given all the rain that we've had. And we've got it, and I don't like this either. You know, just to the east of Caledonia. We need to get that out of here, too.
We have a special marine warning coming in, indicating this is obviously moving its way out over the lake right now.
And a new severe thunderstorm warning for southern Milwaukee County. They're extending the severe thunderstorm warning here. And this is until 6:45. And this is for, again, some hail, but mainly wind up to 60 miles per hour. And again, it's because of the increase in the storm up into Milwaukee. So this is going to be parts of roughly Shorewood, it looks like, and points down to the south, straight through the airport. And this is the downtown area. This will also include you folks in West Dallas, Greendale. You are in this as well, just to kind of get the west side of this here as well. And again, that is until 6:45. So again, that's for wind upwards of 60 miles per hour. The greater concern, though, remains that tornado warning, which I really think in the next 5 minutes, this thing is going to be out over the water. But
it looks like it pretty much is now.
Barely, yep.
John over the National Weather Service locally here, appreciating him to keep us updated. They are, talking about these downburst signatures continuing, like we've been saying. We're seeing, still some significant indicators of some of the heavier rain. We're getting some storm reports now from just south of Wisconsin 142, some pretty big branches down on 136. So definitely seeing this really ramp up, like you said, quickly. When I came in earlier this afternoon, we were talking about how slow of a start this has been, but it is a sprint to the finish, to be sure.
Absolutely. And, it was just interesting because we started with the heavy rain. Then we got into the downburst potential in Walworth County. We've been talking to our Holly Baker, who's down there. And then it became the flooding. And then all of the sudden, literally just a couple of minutes, and boom, we had tornado warnings. But the yellow and the oranges that you're seeing here, again, most of this starting to move out over the lake, those are some of those downbursts. Can we see, too, let's go up into Milwaukee County, because we are likely seeing some of that. Can we click over to the regular velocity? I'm interested, it might paint a little bit better better of a picture here when we add the storm motion into it. And again, the difference between the two is, storm relative will give us more of the rotating end of it. But I mean, you can see here, that's likely microburst potential there. So this may, again, we talked yesterday about Huracan, right? And how straight line winds are just as damaging as tornadic winds. And based upon what we're seeing here, the difference in intensity of the wind between straight line winds and rotating winds, there isn't much of a difference. So in other words, EF1 type tornado damage is what these winds are showcasing, whether they're straight line like we saw in Huracan or rotating like we've seen in Racine and Kenosha counties. Good news is here, while this tornado warning officially continues for Racine and Kenosha counties, as you can see, the radar here with the line of storms, the heaviest part of the line is moving out over the lake. And that is very good news, in that this is telling us that we are just about done with the entire severe weather potential out of this. And again, narrow window, as we've talked about here this afternoon and evening. The window was small. Unfortunately, these storms intensified before we could shut the window, right? So, but we're just about done. The window is just about closed, and then we can be done with this threat. But again, boy, was that significant and has been significant. Oh my goodness!
Oh, wow.
Is this Kenosha?
Kenosha, according Tim Primo is now on location, obviously sheltering wisely in under the parking garage, but still getting us a fantastic shot, as he is so one to do, and giving us some great visuals there as well. Is this the other camera we're getting, Brian, from the... Also from Tim Primo, yeah, there you go, multiple camera setup, and you can see the heavy rain, you see the wind there, and of course, as Tom was talking about, a lot of this is finally starting to make its way farther to the east, and we're not seeing nearly as much farther off to the west, but in areas right around parts of Kenosha County, Racine County, and portions of eastern and southeastern Milwaukee County, absolutely being hit hard with these warnings that are in place right now. Oh, and I'm seeing some more storm reports being brought in here. We're going to get some incredible pictures, I'm sure.
Quick update here, Rob. The tornado warning is going to be allowed to be canceled early. That's coming here shortly for Kenosha and eastern Racine counties because the rotation has moved out over the lake. So that is good news. So from a tornado standpoint, we're good. That's about to be canceled. All right, there goes the rotation. Right now we're turning into waterspouts, right, out over the lake. However, we still have the threat for these downbursts, what the Weather Service is appropriately calling precipitation-loaded downbursts, right, where you just get these heavy batches of rain and very strong winds. That is going to continue for at least another 15 minutes, and that includes central and southern Milwaukee County, which is why the severe thunderstorm warnings continue, and that threat will also continue into hard-hit Racine and Kenosha counties. But note how the back edge of this comes quickly.
Yeah, let me zoom out. You can see the back edge is really winding down.
Yeah, we still have some decent storms here, though, up to the northwest, so we're not totally out of the woods in our northern communities either. But all in all, the trend is good here, that we're going to start to see this settle down. But boy, has this been an active 45 minutes that we have seen the ramp up here, Rob.
And part of the problem with how quickly this rain is coming down is that the infrastructure just can't absorb it, and that's why we're getting so much flooding. I think we've got Sam's live camera up right now. Oh, it's a great example of that torrential rain. Well, windshield wipers having a hard time keeping up with that. Where is Sam located again? My producer, please.
He is in Kenosha, I believe.
He is in Kenosha County? Okay. I mean, that makes sense given what we're seeing with both the wind and the rain. And then if we look farther south and west, there's still quite a bit of active thunder, lightning, and heavy rain into parts of northern Illinois that is tracking to the north and northeast. So we're not quite out of the woods just yet for that southeast corner, because we'll be keeping an eye on how this plays out over the next little while as well, Tom.
Right. And if we want to take a look again at the warnings, what you're going to notice, the tornado warnings are done. And that is certainly a breath of fresh air here. Severe thunderstorm warnings are going to continue until 6:45 for the warnings that you see here on your screen from central Milwaukee all the way down into Kenosha and the state line. And again, that is for these strong downburst winds that we continue to see. Also, there's very heavy rain along this. Let's go ahead and zoom this out, Rob, and just look at the radar on the broad view, just to kind of give folks sort of the back edge of this. Yeah, zoom this out even more.
Okay.
I mean, look at this line.
Well, here, let me add in another. We have multiple sweeping radars. I've just put the airport and Sullivan in there, but let me put one in a little farther west, too. There you go.
Yep.
It just shows that back edge is really starting to improve.
It is, and thankfully. I mean, think about this. If this line had developed 4 or 5 counties west or 4 or 5 counties northwest, this would have been even worse than we experienced. And what it sounds right now, again, the tornado warnings are done. We still have strong winds and very heavy rain. And likely we had a couple of confirmed tornadoes. We're going to have to sift through that and see exactly what happened there. But we're getting reports of some tree damage in our southern communities as a result of this. But I think within the next roughly 10, 12 minutes, once we get the severe thunderstorm warnings expired, that's when the storms will push out of here. We still have to watch the northern edge of this because this is some heavy rain into the West Bend area, into southeast Fond du Lac County. You guys got hard hit last night with the storms, or yesterday afternoon.
And the poor folks up in Beaver Dam and Horicon, you know, you're talking about people that are unhoused right now, and their apartments have had the roof torn off. I know I saw earlier one of the emergency managers up in that area, you know, reaching out for some information on timing because they're trying to get everybody's stuff out of these, you know, wide open apartment buildings. Those areas just came through some pretty heavy rain. Fortunately, it looks like Beaver Dam's kind of on the back edge of this, Tom, but all those areas like Lomira and Horicon that were hit, Beaver Dam that was hit yesterday, are still getting a soaking rain, even if we're not seeing severe weather in the area.
Absolutely right, and still could get gusty winds out of this as well. Not quite to the intensity of our southern counties, but again, this will continue to move through our northern communities. Obviously, you see the intensity here down to the south, and now that Boeing segment and that tornadic circulation pushing out well over Lake Michigan now. So that's also an indicator that the strongest winds of this storm have moved east now. The only concern is embedded within the rest of this line could be these downbursts embedded within the heavy rain, and that, yes, perfect, Robin. You can see that there in the velocity signatures where you're seeing those yellows and oranges. That's where we're seeing some of those stronger winds. So within the next 10 minutes, all of that's going to push out over the lake, and then I think we're going to be done
look at
for
that,
the night.
70 mile an hour Doppler estimated wind. So, you know, like you said earlier, Tom, you know, whether or not we're going to get verified tornadoes with this, the wind speeds were obviously verified, and the heavy rain combining with that was a really big problem. I, you know, can't imagine what it was like driving that stretch of 94 or 41 when we were taking a live look at that, particularly for some of our professional drivers, the truckers that are out there with those high-sided vehicles that catch so much more of that wind.
Well, and you know, we've seen this before with tornadoes with some of the DOT cameras, and we're going to have to go back and look, but I can't help but wonder if we witnessed the southern end of that tornado on the camera at the time.
Yeah, I
as
think
it was
you're right.
blowing over 41. I mean, it was just unbelievable to see, you know, the streaks. And I want to go back, and when we reanalyze it, I think you could almost see the circulation within the rain bands there as well.
Right.
So,
and the observation started, you know, back. If I just put a little tracker on here,
it was
that's
really
kind
back
of how
in that
it
area.
went through that, like that. So that's a pretty long stretch. It moved through pretty quickly, as we've been talking about, but that's a pretty long stretch where we were tracking an observed tornado. Whether or not it was on the ground for that entire period or not, we'll have to wait and see how the survey turns out with this. But it obviously impacted a huge area and a highly populated one too, as well.
Yeah, and you know what just jumps out at me is how fast it happened.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was just that rotation literally happened so quickly, and then the tornado was on the ground, and boom, here we go. Right.
Getting another report in here.
Let's take a look.
Severe thunderstorm just being continued with the severe thunderstorm warning, I think is what that's going to tell you here in a second.
And yep, and we just got a storm report coming in. This was near 5 miles northwest of Pleasant Prairie. Storm chaser reporting. This is from 610. So this was again at the time of that tornado. Several large branches down on 136th Avenue, south of Highway 142, and that is a possible tornado 6 10 tonight near Pleasant Prairie. So that's all going to go into the books in terms of the National Weather Service taking a look at this, comparing radar to likely storm surveys, right? And all that
once
sort of
things
thing.
calm down, of course, we'll get our trucks out there, our live crews out there. We've got a couple on the road, obviously. Holly's been out in this and navigating everything from floodwaters to those high winds. We've got our Tim Primo and Sam is out there. Christina Van Zels has been out there in the last day or so as well, doing a fantastic job of helping us out with this storm coverage. But they've just kind of zoomed in on where that storm report came in.
And, you know, I think we're in the home stretch here. We're in the last 8 minutes of these warnings, of these severe thunderstorm warnings. Look at that rotation just out over the lake. I mean, you look at that and you go, wow, I mean, that's probably producing a decent sized water spout out over Lake Michigan right now. Brian, go ahead. Okay.
Right. So we've got some video from Kenosha again.
So this was from a few minutes ago. Wow, my goodness. They're in a parking garage there in Kenosha.
And there's a couple other shots in here. And then look at the wind-driven rain in that shot. And we've added one more to what we showed you earlier. So we'll wait for this third shot. Oh, there we go.
Okay, and Sheboygan now.
Here we go.
Yep, here we go. Remember we were just talking about that northern cell? 62-mile-per-hour wind gust at the Sheboygan County Airport. So a severe thunderstorm warning. This is for southeastern Fond du Lac County. We'll turn the beeping off for you there. Right. Southeastern Fond du Lac County and all of Sheboygan County, it looks like, until 7:15. Rob, we just can't get into this, can we here? It's
no,
like
we're not getting much of a break.
One weekends, here comes another one. And this is, again, for a 62-mile-per-hour wind gust reported at the Sheboygan Airport. This is in effect until 7:15, and this is for the line that is strengthening as it is moving through Plymouth right now, moving east at 45 miles per hour. And this is for strong wind gusts on the order, we're seeing them over 60 miles per hour. So severe winds will sweep all the way through Sheboygan County over the course of the next 30 to 40 minutes. Again, the severe thunderstorm warning, not for this line, but for this strengthening line segment here for strong damaging winds on the order of 60 to 65 miles per hour that we have seen. So no tornado threat at this point with it, but again, we'll analyze that here in a moment. But again, this is another strengthening line segment here for you in southeastern Fond du Lac and a good chunk of Sheboygan County, including the city of Sheboygan here
and that Sheboygan
as well.
Report of the 62-mile-an-hour wind gust was at the Sheboygan County Airport, which similarly to the Kenosha County Airport is not necessarily in Sheboygan proper, but actually a little farther inland, which is where you're seeing some of the higher radar returns right now. And so definitely worth keeping an eye on that. And as we switch back over to our velocity here, again, you see some of those significant, there you go. Oop, and they just kind of clicked out on me, but I want to be able to keep that kind of in the range. But yeah, if we take a quick query of some of that here, just kind of a live Doppler estimate, still seeing 50 to 60 mile per hour wind speeds within that.
And and the Weather Service is saying, that there are some little waves within this line that are producing pockets of strong winds out of this. Now, I'll tell you right now, just from a rotational standpoint, nothing too concerning out of that. However,
do you want the storm relative back?
Yes, because there may be a little bit of broad rotation, a little bit farther back to the west, and that's going to be towards, just to the northwest of West Bend. That's not in the warning, but we need to just watch the back edge of that because we see how fast, things can go here.
Through very quickly, for sure.
This area here. So again, this is more for pockets of strong winds that have been confirmed over 60 miles per hour at the Sheboygan County Airport, but we got to get that line out over the lake before we're comfortable, just because of what we saw in our southern communities just a few minutes ago. These things can ramp very quickly. Again, the concern right now is not tornadoes, but we need to be very, very cognizant of this because, yes, we're dealing with strong downburst winds on the order of 60 to 65 miles per hour. Will we see any rotation? Hopefully not, but we're watching that closely because it can ramp up very quickly. This will be out over the lake within the next 30 to 35 minutes. But again, we're going to be watching that closely, Sheboygan County and northern Washington, northern Ozaukee, southeastern Fond du Lac counties for you here as well. Again, as we're starting to calm things down in Milwaukee, Racine, Kenosha, Walworth counties, now we're ramping up in our northern counties, albeit for a brief time. We got to get this line out over the lake before, again, we can kind of settle things on down, Rob.
And we can kind of catch our breath. And let me just add in the Green Bay radar to the composite here, just so we get another look, kind of a more northern look at the Sheboygan radar. And again, that kind of confirms that things are just moving along very much like what we have seen in the southern counties with the heavy rain and the significantly strong wind gusts, 55, 65 miles per hour. And that combination, particularly as we get a little darker here, is really problematic as some of this heavier rain starts to approach 43 as it moves along Sheboygan County. It's not a great place to be driving if that's where you're headed or that's your normal commute at this hour. Find a pit stop somewhere or maybe just delay your drive home for a little bit because, as Tom's been pointing out, this has been moving through very, very quickly. So it's not like, it's going to take a ton out of your commute time, and you're certainly safer waiting roadside, as our own Tim Primo was showing us earlier by getting in out of the rain in that covered parking. Now this warning, let me go back to the warning page here, is going to continue. We've got the Milwaukee, Racine, and Kenosha County warning still in place for like a couple more minutes.
Yeah, a minute and a half left on that one.
Yeah, and then as we shift to the north one here, there's that southeastern portion of Fond du Lac and Sheboygan County, and that does go through until about 7:15. They'll probably trim the back edge of this pretty soon, wouldn't you think, Tom?
Yeah, I would think so here. I think, the concern now, I think, Kenosha, you're still getting really heavy rainfall here. Just to kind of compare, there really is no comparison at this point. That southern line or the eastern line is much stronger than what's going through Sheboygan County right now.
Well, look at out over the lake. I mean, fortunately, that's not an issue right now. There's probably no boaters out there, but it's still coming down.
Yeah, I mean, so that's nasty. But the line to the north, that's going to be our concern now for the next half an hour. Again, less than a minute on the Milwaukee, Racine, Kenosha County warnings. Those will be let go. This is what we need to watch over the course of the next, half an hour, if not a little bit less, as this churns through Sheboygan and northern portions of Washington, northern Ozaukee, southeastern parts of Fond du Lac counties. As again, right now, this is wind of 60 to 65 miles per hour, in addition to heavy rainfall. Not overly concerned about rotation, but again, we just need to watch that closely because that makes me uncomfortable in that there's definitely broad rotation here in northern and northeastern parts of Washington County, southwest parts of Sheboygan County, and we just need to be mindful of that over the course of the next 15 to 20 minutes because, yes, if this were to increase, particularly east of Kewaskum, that would certainly be a concern. We just don't want this ramping up on us like we had in Walworth, Racine, and Kenosha counties that suddenly started dropping tornadoes, right? So, again, not overly concerned. The rotation is broad, but we're going to keep a very close eye on this as the strong winds, at the very least, buffet the area through Sheboygan through 7:15 tonight. Again, we've had a confirmed wind gust to 62 miles per hour at the Sheboygan County Airport. So much like the last one here, we've been dealing with these strengthening lines of thunderstorms, and it does look like the southern Kenosha County warning, if we want to go broaden that out a little bit, looks like southern Kenosha severe thunderstorm warning.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, it looks like it's out of there, but it looks like they're going to keep it going until 7:15.
Oh, well,
so
it's been dropped from the map, but we'll
but
keep
still
an eye on
some
that.
strong winds there. But again, the concern really is weakening for our friends in our southern counties. We just need to watch Sheboygan County now until 7:15, just in hopes that this thing doesn't start spinning or something like that.
Right. And getting a ton of storm reports coming in now from what was happening earlier, Tom, as well. Large branches down Hill Street in Walworth County when the system was moving its way through there as well. We've got a special weather statement issued in the last little bit here, looking at those wind gusts continuing at about 50 miles per hour. And I would suspect that we will get quite a few more of these over the next little while as we continue to see folks kind of come out after the back edge moves through and give us, what they're seeing in their own backyards.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, this has just been such an interesting line of storms in that it perked up right over us. It was just kind of this mess of heavy rain, and then all of a sudden it's like the heavy rain continued, but sort of the radar cleared out and these storms just boom, perked up into these lines, these little linear aspects of the storms, and our southern communities did have tornadoes with it. Those are done now. We need to just continue to watch this area. I mean, clearly this line has intensified in Sheboygan County over the last few minutes. A lot of lightning, a lot of thunder, heavy rain, winds over 60 miles per hour that will be heading right into the city of Sheboygan as we speak right now. So that it's getting loud for you for sure. As of right now, and I'm just going to kind of peek back at these winds,
sure.
I'm not seeing the velocities like we had down south, but I do think that we're in the 60 to 70 mile per hour range.
Yeah, some of the heavier velocity reports are kind of coming in now north Sheboygan County and pushing into Manitowoc County, seeing some of the more 60 plus returns there on the velocity scan. But you're right, it doesn't look quite as bad as what we had earlier. We're seeing some of our live DOT cameras here. This is I-43 at 28 as well, so you're seeing some very wet conditions. It doesn't look nearly as bad as what we witnessed along parts of 94 when that potential tornado moved its way across the interstate, but we're definitely keeping an eye on that. Now, as we take a look, let me see if I can bring up the precipitation, the accumulated precipitation. Yeah, let me get rid of the lightning because it's just obscuring our view. But Tom, look at this. From the Doppler estimate, these heavier pockets, including parts of Sheboygan County, it's definitely coming down for you in Sheboygan, Fond du Lac, and earlier, tragically, in Dodge County, where all the folks, are unhoused and have, roofs torn off. So massive, obviously, going to be water damage there. But look at those South counties, Tom, with these heavy pockets of 3 and 4 inch rainfall totals potentially by the time this is all said and done.
Yeah, and that flooding is likely to be a big factor of this. We talked to our Holly Baker. We also saw the video from Sam Kramer and our Tim Primo, who is in Kenosha, dealing with all of that very heavy rainfall. Yeah, I think that's going to be a big story as well. Thankfully, the messaging in our southern communities right now is it's coming to an end. So that is certainly good news. Sheboygan, we're getting there. But we continue to watch this line of thunderstorms that is perking up. It continues to perk up. The wind signatures are not as strong as they were in our southern communities, but we're in the 60 to 70 mile per hour range. From a rotational standpoint, not as concerned. However, we need to just get this thing through Sheboygan because it has perked up, and we still need to watch the potential for some rotation here, even though no tornado warnings or anything like that. But these lines have histories of perking up quickly.
And I think we have Sam coming up here. I think we've got a live. We can join Sam live at this moment here, taking a little bit of shelter there, but obviously some ponding. Sam, what are you seeing if we can get you live here? All right, I think we just got the camera right now.
Oh, gotcha.
At least I'm not hearing from Sam at the moment. But if he wants to jump on, certainly we'd welcome his intake because, our live trucks and our live crews have been out there experiencing this in real time. Tom and I have, been doing our best to, track this using all of the technology that we have. But, Tom, as you know, experiencing this in real time, in real life, is definitely a different situation. And we've been checking with Holly and Sam and everybody throughout the day.
We had Holly earlier, and right when we took her, there was a big lightning strike.
Yeah.
And we had reports of lightning-induced fires across the area as well. Again, that was with the big batch that came through. That is done. But again, we have this line segment that honestly is producing a lot of rain here in central portions of Sheboygan County. Rob, could we zoom this out and just take a look at kind of southeastern Wisconsin as a whole here as well, as we continue to monitor you folks in Sheboygan County? But I just want to give you the idea here. Yes, Kenosha, you're still getting slammed with heavy rain here. So flooding flooding is going to be an issue right along the state line. But we can be thankful now that Boeing segment is well out over the lake. Our inland communities are starting to dry things out, and our northern communities continue to deal with this severe thunderstorm warning in Sheboygan County. Let's see what else we've got
and
coming
We
out
Energies
here.
is reporting in excess of 30,000 customers without power across the state.
This is the same as yesterday.
Yeah, it's huge. Vast majority of those are in our area, although parts of northeastern Wisconsin also hit by this. You can see again on the radar here some of the heavier rainfall that is coming down. Let me zoom in on the Sheboygan County area where we continue to have that severe thunderstorm warning in place. Now, this is starting to work its way out of the area, but it is still a dangerous storm. So please take care. Even though this is not a tornado warning, you still always need to take cover in the event of a severe thunderstorm warning. All right, there's a live look at our We Energies outages. As I mentioned earlier, 34,237 is the count right now. Kenosha County is the vast majority of that at over 20,000, almost 21,000 of that 34 plus is out of the Kenosha County area. And then next in line there, Racine County. In fact, that basically makes up the entire count, Racine and Kenosha County, which obviously makes sense. That's where that observed tornado made its way through parts of central Kenosha County near the airport potentially, right through Sturtevant and then into northeastern portions of Racine County before going out over Lake Michigan. 20,000 plus without power right now in Kenosha County, almost 10,000, a little over 9,000 in Racine, and a little over 3,000 in Milwaukee County. So very, very powerful storm. Now, Sheboygan County is seeing the lower number there, 101, but it is currently seeing some heavy rain as well as some frequent thunder and lightning. And as Tom has been pointing out throughout the night, lightning has been triggering some fires with this as well. May well be directly responsible for some of those outages because, of course, anytime lightning hits a power transmitter or a power tower or a pole, it can cause quite a bit in the way of outages. The live radar here as I zoom in does show some of the heavier rain and the frequent thunder and lightning, but it's also kind of showing that back edge. I'm going to turn a few of these sweeps off just so it's a little less confusing to the eye. Let me take Davenport and Lockport off there and just focus on what we've got coming out of Green Bay and Milwaukee. And you can see the back edge of some of that heavier rain, and that's moving its way through. So this should wind down in the next little while here. The timing makes sense. It kind of goes right in along with the warning itself, which is in place until 7:15. Now, it hasn't been trimmed yet. I would expect that there may be some adjustments. I don't see anything in the chat yet. Tom, you seeing anything in the chat about trimming this back a little bit west to east?
You'd think that we could at this point, right? And we'll see. So usually the midpoint of the warning will come out here shortly, where they will trim it back. But yes, and I'm just getting some more reports interesting too. I mean, you're seeing a little light Boeing structure right there into Sheboygan. So I do think we are still going to see these strong winds. Just kind of for the first time in hours now, I'm just kind of looking at social media and hearing from some folks in Racine and Kenosha counties. Had one report of a viewer who said, look, I've been here 10 years and haven't seen it this bad in my neighborhood. So that kind of gives you an idea of some of the damage.
I think particularly for those lakeside communities, you know, like
Yes.
there's the persistent myth in this area that somehow tornadoes can't get to the lakeside counties. Clearly that was busted tonight as this thing started in Kenosha and moved into Racine counties. But I think you're right, Tom, a lot of those lakeshore communities probably haven't seen it nearly this intense in a while.
Right, and a lot of people will say, oh, the lake's too cool, the lake's going to save us, as you mentioned, right? And that's kind of the classic myth. Now, I did have some viewers ask today, well, why don't you talk more about the lake protecting us? Because, yes, sometimes it can when you get the southeast wind and the real cool air, but today, very different because there are different atmospheric dynamics at play. The jet stream, the cold front. We saw this as it moved from Walworth into Racine and Kenosha counties, how fast these things can spin up. That doesn't necessarily have to do with the lake. And yes, these can make it all the way to the lake, as we saw in Kenosha, Racine, Wind Point, right? So, the science of this is very interesting, but you also don't want to rely on sort of these myths of, oh, we live near a cold lake, so it's going to save us. Yeah. We clearly, that wasn't the case this go around,
it's
right?
The same myth with, there are some folks that believe that they can't hit big cities. Obviously
right.
That's not the case either. It's just more a fact of how much does the geographical footprint of a city take up versus, massive farm fields that we have, right? So yeah, if you add up the spots, it's going to hit rural areas at a higher percentage because there's more rural areas than there are city center areas. But that was busted today, too, as it went through Kenosha right into Racine. All right, we've got another picture here. Where are we looking, Brian?
This is Kenosha. Look at that shelf cloud.
Oh, wow.
My goodness. And we were looking at this live as it was coming in. Boy, oh, boy. So that, what you're looking at here, that was the line that was coming into Kenosha. And now that we're kind of out of the threat level in Kenosha, and it's, wow, look at that.
That's impressive.
Safe to assume here that what we were looking at was the shelf cloud itself. So that was the strong winds coming out of the front side of the storm. But then within that, you had as particularly on the northern edge, you had the rotation. That is some amazing storm structure, Rob. Look at this.
It's a textbook right there. And
now, interesting, because look at that on the northern edge. You see the cloud go all the way to the ground there. Now, I don't know the exact location of this, so that could very well be simply the shelf cloud going all the way to the ground, which can often happen.
Or some perspective.
Correct.
Maybe? Yeah.
Or did we end up seeing the rotating part of this, and that's what you're witnessing there? Unclear exactly as to where this is in relation to where the rotation was. However, this is pretty incredible. Do we have more from Sam?
I think we got Sam here.
Oh wow, my goodness. And this is live. Can we take Sam?
Can you guys hear me?
Sammy, yeah, what's going on? Where are you?
So we are on 136th Avenue, just south of County Highway 142. Looking at the addresses here, this is town of Paris.
Yes, sure.
And so we have seen up and down 136. We're a little bit, we passed the airport on the way here. We're about northwest, almost exactly northwest of the airport. You see there's still lightning flashing. There's been tree damage up and down this street, which is essentially impassable right now because of some of the branches that are down straight ahead of us. Fortunately, it doesn't look like too many of the branches that have come down along this right side are where the power lines are. But still, there is a lot of tree damage up and down this street. As I'm looking at some of the houses, it doesn't appear that anyone really has their lights on. So I'm not sure.
Well,
yeah,
that wouldn't surprise me with
power
what
in this
energy
area.
Yeah, power could very well be out.
So.
Sam, interesting here in that you're right in that tornadic path. I mean, we had reports not far from the Kenosha airport of a touchdown, and we were tracking that circulation right over Paris. So you could very well be right in that vicinity that you're looking at.
It does feel that way. If you just look at the degree of which these tree limbs are down, they're pointing east, southeast.
That's interesting. Yeah,
so take from that what you will. But remember, it sounds like you guys have been taking the video that our photojournalist Tim Primo shot from when we were inside this parking garage. And boy, did that just turn on a dime. I mean, incredibly strong winds. Rain was coming in. It was falling down through some of the light fixtures there as well. And so there are some localized areas of flash flooding in Kenosha, but our focus for right now is tornado damage, and I think we're looking at.
Go to Fox Local. Fox Local app right now. Weather coverage continues.
Off the air, but we're now on here.
With stories that matter to you, this is Fox 6 News.
That's where we're going to begin tonight. Yes. We're going to stay on with you until this whole thing is gone. Ted Perry, Kim Murphy, you're not seeing us. You're seeing the two chief meteorologists.
Let's go to them in the weather office.
The Chiefs, right?
The Chiefs are on it. You guys got it.
Yeah, thanks, Kim and Ted. It has been a very interesting, very busy night. Things have ramped up very, very quickly. We were just hearing from Sam Kramer. Tom, you want to get back to Sam and just get an update because his visual really tells the story.
Yeah, before we get there, let's just take a quick look at Sheboygan County, if we could,
Let me scroll up there in a sec. Here.
Sheboygan County remains under a severe thunderstorm warning until 7:15 for wind gusts of 55 to 65 miles per hour. There was a report at about 6:30 of a 59 mile per hour gust at the Sheboygan County Airport. I think we're going to see this trim back considerably when the Weather Service updates it here. But again, this is the final push of severe weather coming through. I know you're getting a lot of heavy rain, a lot of thunder and lightning in Sheboygan County, and that's going to push through and should be out over the lake within roughly the next 20 minutes. But again, no tornado threat here, but there is a threat, again, for gusty winds, very heavy rainfall, and localized flooding. Let's zoom this out again, Rob, just to give everyone a quick overview of what's going on. This was the nastiness that is now clearing out of Kenosha County.
And it's still intense out over the lake.
Oh,
I mean, again, it
very
doesn't
much
have any
so.
impact on most folks, but it just shows how strong that was, that it has kept going out over that cold water, Tom.
But within the next 20 minutes, Sheboygan County, you'll be done. And then guess what? We're going to be done with all of this, which is great news. Now, there were reports of confirmed tornadoes in our southern communities from near the Kenosha airport up to about Paris, Union Grove, potentially Sturtevant. That was with this area from earlier, and that is where we find our Sam Kramer near Paris right now. So, Sam, why don't you fill us in on what you're seeing there tonight, as it looks like you've got some damage.
Look at that picture.
Oh,
Just
we don't
joining us,
have.
we are on,
There we go, Sammy. We can hear you.
We are on 136th. You can hear me now? Okay.
Yep.
So if you're just joining us, we're on 136th Avenue looking to the north. We're just south of Highway 142, which kind of connects Burlington into... and so if I'm following what you guys have been saying, it sounds like this was traveling to at an east to southeast direction. As I'm looking at these trees, they do follow that same direction as they're down on the ground here, blocking this street. We see a car on the other side. They're a little bit farther down. There is a law enforcement vehicle, I would guess, probably in the early stages of setting up a roadblock. But there is tree damage up and down this street. It seems like these homes are without power. And from what we have seen, this would line up with the signature that so many people have sent us that was going in the direction of the Kenosha County Airport and then over there into Kenosha. If you were joining us, you did our photojournalist Tim Primo shot. We were staged on top of a parking garage in downtown Kenosha when we decided to go under as the tornado siren was sounding. And so while we were down there, it turned on a dime in just a matter of minutes. It was so fast how the skies changed. You have definition of these clouds, and then you do not. And then the rain after that was just so strong coming through here. And so, yeah, I got to tell you, it was incredible how fast that happened. And looking at some of the video that our team has been compiling on behind the scenes,
Right.
It is just incredible what this was able to produce. This is the first spot that we have been to. I don't see any property damage. Granted, I'm not getting out of the vehicle just yet. Although, actually, you know what? Behind us, it looks like a flagpole snapped about a foot from the base.
Wow.
I don't know that we can get that with this camera right now. But yeah, about 2 feet tall. A metal flagpole actually is snapped. And
that seems like a very sizable tree, too, in the distance there.
So we're not going to get out of the truck just yet. If you can see, there's still a good amount of lightning in the area.
Yeah, good
still
call.
a decent amount of rain. But when we can, certainly, we'll do that.
Well, and you were talking about how quickly that happened, Sam. I've been scrolling the last hour, 2-hour time lapse of that area in the other corner of the screen here. And again, it just races right across the map. And this generated very quickly. The rotation really started to fire as it went through parts of central Kenosha. And then as it continued to track farther east and northeast, we started to see that, of course, become potentially a tornado, obviously an observed tornado with this. And we saw some of the damage, and we continue to see pictures just like what Sam is sharing with us right here. And of course, that all happened just shortly after tracking some of the live flash flooding that we were seeing earlier, a little farther upstream, if you will, for parts of Walworth County. And we continue to track a strong storm into the Sheboygan County area as well, where there is that severe thunderstorm warning still in place for the moment. That's in place through until 7:15, so about 10 minutes left on that. We'll continue to check in with Sam. He's going to continue to stay in the truck, stay safe, which is a good idea. I know I saw a few folks out there trying to assess the damage. I don't know if that's maybe their properties or if they're emergency management workers or whatever, but ideally wait until these storms have left the area, till the thunder and lightning is long out of the area before you go out into it. So Sam is being safe and doing the right thing. Now, we don't want to turn our focus away from Sheboygan just yet, because it does continue under a severe thunderstorm warning for the moment, and there is still quite a bit in the way of rain and thunderstorms, or thunder and lightning up into that area. Let me zoom in here. Right here, we're seeing a pretty good amount of rain. It's just starting to calm down now in the Plymouth area, but still going strong as you head toward 32, and then that stretch of 43 there as you get, just right along the interstate. That is just about to see an uptick in the heavier rainfall. As we saw earlier along parts of 9441 as it goes through Kenosha County, that wind-driven rain is very challenging. Now, it won't likely be quite as intense on some of the DOT cams up in the Sheboygan County area. They're not quite as dense, or there's not as many up in that area either. But there is still wind gusts in excess of 45, 55 miles per hour, and there still is some pretty heavy rain in the Sheboygan County area, where the severe thunderstorm warning continues officially for another 7 or 8 minutes. And at this point, they haven't really trimmed that back at all. But that video from Sam was very impressive, and I think it really echoes what we were saying earlier, Tom, about how quickly this moved through the area and how rapidly that intensified. We're going to continue to monitor that situation. I'm just kind of checking the National Weather Service here. We've had a lot of cancellations. That's good. Flash flood warning is canceled now. A couple of special marine warnings coming up, and getting a ton of, kind of after the fact notifications here. Although here's one more recent up in the Sheboygan area, 59 mile per hour wind gust at one of our, what we call ASOS reporting stations. So pretty confident in the accuracy of that. But the back edge of that is starting to wind down. As you can see here on the loop of the last 3 hours, this has been moving rapidly across the map, and we're starting to see that back edge come into play. Now, Tom, if you want to come right back in here.
I echo with what you're saying here, too, which is how fast, and you heard Sam talk about it, right? How fast this thing ramped up. I mean,
let me loop the 30 minutes. Sorry to cut you off after I just asked you to come in. But I want to show you how quickly that happened here on the velocity down where Sam is. This is just a 45-minute loop. And look at how quickly that moved across.
Yeah.
We go out an hour.
So fast. It was just so interesting because, and we could even bring, Ted and Kim or Mary, I'm not sure who's at the desk with us, but it's so interesting because during the 4 o'clock news, Ted and Kim, we were talking about, I was calling it the mush, right? Yeah. The mush that was coming through. Heavy rain, lightning, thunder, this and that. And then all of a sudden, the mush kind of cleared, and we just saw this big line start to develop. And then we had our Holly Baker, who was tracking it in a perfect location in southwestern parts of Walworth County. And then all of the sudden, right there. All of a sudden, it was like, whoa, we had this rotation within the line of storms and confirmed tornadoes with that as it moved from southwestern, really Paddock Lake was the start, right? Paddock Lake was the start, moved very close to the Kenosha County Airport, and then we were Union Grove and Paris, and then right up into Sturtevant, Racine, and out over the lake. And just how fast that happened. And I'm just we're still kind of in the mode, right? As Sheboygan County, you're about 5 minutes out from this thing being done with you. But, it's just so interesting because we talked about this moderate risk, right? Which was perfectly placed. The tornado watch, which was perfectly placed by the Storm Prediction Center and the National Weather Service. And just, I'm watching this, and I know Rob and Ted and Kim, you're watching this going, okay, this thing's almost out over the lake. Nope, not yet. And then boom, it drops these tornadoes so quickly. And this is why we push this so hard, because it can happen so quickly. And I think that's the big takeaway from myself. Rob, I think I can speak for you, and Sam as well, who is out in the field going, whoa, this thing happened so quickly. We were hoping it would be out over the lake, but it wasn't. And it touched down before, obviously, the storms could make it out over the lake, guys.
Well, I guess my question is a two-parter. Is that unusual? and why did it happen if it is?
Sure. I would say in this type of scenario, no, it is not unusual, and it is something that we knew was a possibility. I think maybe the unusual portion of it would be just that, just how fast it does indeed happen. We knew it was a possibility, but I think from a meteorological standpoint, to see it happen so fast, even though we know it can, it's still always jarring when it does, if that makes sense. And that's, again, why we're always on here and why we're constantly, look, this could be a big deal. We know the atmosphere is primed for this, but then to actually see it happen in real time as we did, as fast as it did, is really something from a scientific standpoint that gives us pause. So no, it's not a surprise, but anytime it does happen, you just, as a meteorologist, you kind of sit there and go, wow. Right, Rob? I mean,
hey, I just want to jump in for you guys.
Sure.
We want to reset here. We're on Fox Local. You guys have been great, and thanks everyone for joining us. We know that we just have a couple more minutes for that severe thunderstorm watch in Sheboygan.
The warning, yep.
But we have gotten so many pictures from viewers that we're going to try to get to in Kenosha as this storm was rolling through. They were sending videos. Some folks even had videos of what they thought could have been rotations. And so we hope to be sharing that with you in a couple of seconds. But guys, we just have a couple more minutes with your eyes on Sheboygan.
Yeah, that is a really good point, Kim, because we don't want to, move on too quickly here. We're obviously going to have quite some time to kind of deconstruct what happened down in Kenosha and Racine County. And as Tom was pointing out, even though you know that this can happen, witnessing it in real time is definitely something that makes you take a step back. Right now, though, we are still under that severe thunderstorm warning up into the Sheboygan County area. And we're still seeing some pretty heavy rain and some frequent thunder and lightning there. But it is starting to wind down. Tom, I'm going to zoom in here for you. You're at the chroma key, so you can kind of lead this through.
Yeah, so can we take a look at the MKX radar on this too, just to kind of get an idea. This is really just a lot of rain coming on through, but we'll kind of take a little closer look here. We can still hear the thunder here at our station as well. So we're still thundering. This is a good amount of rain coming through, and it's right over the city of Sheboygan. So yes, you have got less than 2 minutes left on this. Maybe some gusty winds, but the overarching concern, they're not going to continue this warning. They'll let this go as the overarching concern is done for you. You may have some localized flooding out of this as well, and certainly some loud rumbles, but the severe winds, I think, are largely starting to wind down. So this severe thunderstorm warning will be allowed to expire here in a little over a minute. So that is good news. And the rest of the area as well, we are starting to settle on down. And I'll tell you, we have a beautiful day on the way tomorrow. And I know, I just want to keep emphasizing that because the last 2 days have been rough, haven't they? And we are here with you. You've got both chiefs here tonight. And kudos to you, Rob, for working this morning and then coming back here tonight, which we greatly appreciate.
Yeah. I mean, it is part of the job, but I appreciate the appreciation, as I like to say. The severe thunderstorm warning does continue for another couple of minutes. I do hear a couple of things printing off, a couple of special marine warnings coming in from the National Weather Service. Many of the other warnings have been canceled as well. Let me zoom out here.
We still have the tornado watch, but I think that's going to be allowed to go. Why don't we stay on this map for about another 35 seconds? You'll be able to see that warning drop out. And I think that's going to be the last of it for the night and the last of it maybe until Saturday when we could have a couple of gusty winds out of those storms Saturday. But again, this will be the last of the night here for us tonight as this comes to an end. Now, we're going to continue our coverage here on Fox Local. Now we're going to kind of get into more of the deep dive of the videos that Kim was talking about, right? We can analyze those, kind of see what's been going on with our viewers and all the various reports that have come in because we did have confirmed tornadoes with that. Hang on. 2, 1, poof.
There
it goes.
Nicely done.
We're done.
Nicely done.
That is it. And the warnings are done. The tornado watch will be allowed, I believe, to be canceled long before the 9 o'clock hour here. And we can all rest easy tonight. So with that, Rob, thank you so much for being with us here tonight. And I think Ted and Kim, why don't we turn the reins over to you now? And we'll be here to answer questions, analysis, and that sort of a thing. But the weather world, we are starting to calm down. No warnings in effect any longer.
Appreciate that. And what we're going to try to do for viewers who are joining us still on Fox Local, and by the way, we're going to stay until 8 until all of this is out of our system, right? That's the least we can do. Videos coming in. So let's just take them as we've got one. This is Stephen sending us this from Kenosha County. And guys, Kim and I are good at what we do, but we don't analyze clouds for a living. So feel free to hop in and tell us what we're seeing here.
Now, again, was this Kenosha?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so
By Parkside.
By Parkside.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So as this re-racks here, definitely could see the shelf cloud. I think, yes. So concerning. I don't know if that's the shelf cloud that we're seeing. This could be the tornado. Yeah, so as we zoom out, you see the striations. Those are called striations, the layers on the front side. That's indicative of rotation, number one. That could very well be a tornadic circulation there. You're obviously seeing a lowering. It appears to me that you're seeing rotation. And depending on the precise location, now again, we were watching this live, right? So this was the DOT cam looking southwest. That is the shelf cloud. All right, so that is the overarching shelf cloud, and let's just keep, I don't know how long this will continue, but this is the storm as it rolled over Interstate 41, and the area that we were watching live on that was the darker shaded area straight ahead. So you had the shelf cloud, which was the strong winds coming out of the front side of the storm, but the rotation was a little bit farther back. Where that dark area is. And I'm wondering if that was the tornado out of this. Because now, as it gets closer, do you see what I mean? Where it's lighter to the left, it's lighter to the right, and you have that one dark area there. And that, in my opinion, is where the tornado would be. And we know, based upon public reports, that there were confirmed tornadoes out of this. I don't specifically know what that means at this point, but there was certainly strong rotation on radar, which I believe would align with this view. And we let's stay on this one. Again, this is recorded. This is not live. This was from earlier. But we'll look at another camera in a little bit where I think we did catch the circulation. But I want to stay on this because I do believe that you're looking directly at it. Okay, so now this is interesting. All right, so I'm looking at this for the first time, as you are, at least this deep dive into it. And I'm interested to see here as this is getting closer to the interstate. So again, you're looking at that dark patch straight in front of you here. And what I'm looking for is more prominent rotation. So as we're looking to the southwest, it's very clear that the flow at cloud level is northwest right there. Okay, so you can see the clouds coming in that direction. See, it's going to be straight in front of you now. And that looks to me like it is rotating. See that right there? So that would almost be your wall cloud straight over the interstate. That little tiny lowering right there, that's right onto the left-hand side of your screen. Now, I don't necessarily see any sort of touchdowns with that, but that is what I would consider to be the tornadic circulation with that, which is very interesting. So that very well could have been and could be in the distance there. You can see the lower visibility, and that may correlate with what we were looking at on a different vantage point from Kenosha County looking north. So interesting there. Very, very interesting. Yeah, so we, need to obviously get more of those reports in, but I can just tell you, and Rob and I can tell you from looking at the radar, that we did indeed have strong rotation on radar as well. And just something else to point out here, if you can give me just a moment. Just going back to the present here again, no warnings are in effect. However, let's go back to the radar here real quick. Let me take you over to here. Sheboygan, you're looking good, but it looks like we got a few more thunders. We got why? We have another line popping up over East Troy right now, right over Interstate 43. This is not severe. Not concerned about it being severe at this point, so hopefully this thing just moves out pretty quickly. But there's a quick developing line over Interstate 43, so we'll track that. You got some showers and non-severe thunderstorms from East Troy right down through Elkhorn right now. That'll roll over Lake Geneva and into some of the hard-hit areas into parts of Racine and Kenosha County. So just wanted to bring that to your attention, that we still have a few more storms. Again, not severe on radar, but we don't want any more, guys. So I'm going to toss it back over to you, but we're going to track this. And I understand you have some more damage coming on in.
We do. Thanks, Tom. Thank you for joining us again on Fox Local. Christina Van Zelst is in Walworth County.
You got some damage to tell us about, Christina? Tell us exactly where you are and what you're seeing.
I do, and I will say this is the only damage that we've noticed. We've been driving around Walworth County for quite a while now. We are looking at a tree in the middle of the road here. This is on Hill Street. Not a major impact area. This is more of a residential road with a few homes around it. So there is one crew behind us that was looking to come in here. And Isaiah, what are you noticing?
There's wires down over here.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, if you see right here, we're going to tilt the camera down here. You can see power lines.
Yeah, so that did go into the power line there. That's a good eye. That's photojournalist Isaiah Vargas is talking there. He noticed the power line that's down and this tree that's, of course, in the middle of the street here. But as I mentioned, this is the only damage we've seen so far in Walworth County when it comes to downed trees. We did see a little bit of flooding that has since receded, and driving, we were in Delavan and Elkhorn earlier and didn't see a ton, which is good news for the people that live here. Of course, this tree will be a problem for anybody trying to get out, but there is a truck behind us that appears to look like they might try to remove this at least from the road and probably get some power crews out here as well.
Well, you would get a gold star from Brendan Conway of We Energies, who told us last night, when you see those down power lines, don't get out of your car, don't go investigate them, don't let the dogs near them. You guys are doing the right thing.
That's kind of scary when you see
Absolutely.
that across the front porch or near the front porch, near the cars.
Yeah, I know. And there is a woman standing outside here. It looks like her front lights are on, but I can't tell if the power on the street is completely out. And then actually to our right, Isaiah, if you can see, there's another tree in this yard that's also down, blocking that person's driveway. So this pocket, this neighborhood did seem to have some damage. But again, this is the damage that we've seen really in Walworth County.
Were you in Walworth County, guys, when this system came through, or are you arriving to see the aftermath? Because if you were there, tell us what it was like.
So we were actually on I-43. We were heading towards Elkhorn when that heavy rain was coming down, and we saw a lot of lightning, and the interstate was starting to get those flooded waters where it was hard to see if it was water or just shining on the road. And so driving, we were on our way here, and it was that heavy rain we were experiencing. We did go slower than the speed limit just because it was causing some visibility issues on the interstate on I-43. But as we heard from our chief meteorologist, it came in and it came out. It was very quick. So when we actually got into Elkhorn and then checked out the Delavan area, the sun was trying to peek through the clouds, and driving through, you really wouldn't know there was a storm until we found this in Walworth back on Hill Street.
And as I checked the We Energies map, 37,411 customers right now are without power. And so that location right there is one of many that crews will be working on this evening. Repeat, rinse, repeat. We were here yesterday about this time. Kenosha County, we're looking at 21,000 customers right now who have no power.
This is about the same number that we were at about this time last night. I think it was a little more than 35,000.
This time Dodge County being spared with just 36.
Sure. Yeah, it matches what our reporters and what our meteorologists are saying. Kenosha County, Racine County, Walworth County. It's going to be interesting to see where this number is at 10:30 tonight, Murph, because they did an extraordinary job last night.
Very quickly.
Cutting that number in half and in half again. And hopefully they can do that again tonight. Dodge County getting spared, but Dodge County took its share of pummeling yesterday. So Kenosha County really taking the brunt right now with 21,000 people without power. Can we go back to that picture from Christina's truck? It just looked like the tree fell onto the wires. I'm not certain of that, but just putting two and two together there.
And that's what we hear all the time
Yeah.
from We Energies, is that it's usually a tree or, some kind of something that brings down the power line. But it's frightening because you can't tell if it's a live wire or if it's totally safe. And so the folks in that neighborhood are doing the right thing, as is our crew, staying away from that power line until We Energies arrives and says that it's okay to venture any closer.
What town are you closest to? Do you know where you are, Christina? Are you out in a rural area?
We're closest to Fontana.
Fontana, okay.
We're about a mile from Fontana.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay, that helps our perspective greatly. Thank you so much. All right, can we go around the horn? Can we check in with Sam, or we have other crews out there, of course? Okay, well, let's do that. Christina, thank you. Let us know when We Energies arrives there. And Sam Kramer's been in Kenosha County all afternoon.
Yes, and we were getting calls into our newsroom of some concerning clouds near Kenosha County, the airport there, and the Kenosha County Detention Center. So Sam was headed in that direction. He did encounter a road that had a lot of trees that had come down, and so, which is consistent with the number of outages that we're seeing.
21,000.
21,000. So we're going to check in with him. Ben Handelman, we forgot about him. We started this afternoon talking about World Cup. He was down at the Nomad.
Have you ever seen a happier man?
I've never seen a happier man.
Ben, soccer equals happiness.
Right. Every team is his team. Mexico won. Mexico won, so he was Team Mexico. But he also sent in some video of just the Nomad and the rain. The water was just pouring in, and folks just kind of scattered.
He's supposed to be back for the news at 9, but he's sheltering in place right now. Right. And Colin Schemenauer, his photographer, they are together sheltering in place.
Jen, can we get that camera, our Nomad camera, to show what's live?
Okay.
She says, we're racking it up. So this
is earlier.
Yeah.
Or is this isn't still live? Are they still celebrating?
Is this live?
No, okay. This is video.
Whoa.
Well, you can't blame them. It was a nice win, 2-0 over
This is Wisconsin, and we do like to celebrate.
South Africa.
But this is the video I was mentioning. You see that rain just pouring in.
Oh, yeah.
So it wasn't disrupting the party after Mexico won over South Africa.
Yeah, and this wasn't all that long ago. This was still a couple hours after the match ended.
Ago, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
down heavy there.
The party that was canceled is Jazz in the Park.
Eventually was canceled,
yes,
right?
So
okay.
we thought it was going to be canceled earlier, and then
this afternoon they told us it was on.
It was on.
And then the word I got was they were going to move it inside.
Where do you
the
move it
after
inside?
party. That's what I'm trying to figure out. I was told it was going to be moved inside from the Westtown Association was telling me that, or Easttown Association.
Easttown Association. But we did get our World Cup celebration, a little bit of that before the severe weather started to kick in.
Yeah.
So
move it inside to Electric Lime.
Oh.
Do you know what that is?
Yeah, it's a couple doors. It's on Jefferson.
Okay. It's a club?
It's a little restaurant.
Okay.
I think it used to be Luisa's.
Oh, Luisa's Trattoria.
Yeah.
Right there in the car. I know exactly
think
what you're
it's
talking
somewhere
about.
around
Okay.
there.
So that's where they move it.
That's where we have.
Yeah, next Thursday.
Yeah.
Next Thursday.
So Ben is hunkered down with his photographer.
And his new soccer friends.
Right, exactly.
He was surrounded by very
I think there was a body wave, and they were like,
Yeah.
Abril Preciado has also been out and about, and so she captured a fire.
We don't know if it's weather related.
We don't
right?
know if it's weather related, but we did have our crews reporting that they did see some lightning.
Okay.
And so, this is all part of the post-weather investigation that goes on to find out.
It's a good way to put it.
Was this caused by lightning? Was there a rotation? Did it touch down? straight line winds, that sort of thing. So our crews are also out there.
It's amazing the detective work that comes in after the fact here. Oh, yeah, that's an EF0, that's an EF1. We know this because of this. Do we have any crews who we could go to right now? I don't want to. No, we don't.
Can we bring our weather experts back in to just kind of, I always am fascinated about the ingredients that all came together for this to fire up where it did, when it did, because it was kind of muggy out today, but you know, it wasn't horrible.
Yeah, the humidity was there, much worse today than yesterday. Yeah, and yesterday we were expecting heat indices into the 90s, but as Tom explained, that didn't happen for a variety of reasons.
Hi, guys.
Let's talk about, did you just see what we had from Walworth County there?
Can you pull that up again? Sorry, no, I missed it.
We had down trees and down power lines just a little bit west of Fontana in Walworth County.
But when we look at the outage map, Kenosha County by far has the most outages right now, 21,000 customers or so. So that kind of tells us how that storm.
Correct. And let's take a look. I'll back up the radar here for you. So you can see the radar. I'll zoom you on in and we'll back it up a little bit so you can kind of see how this all shook out. So we still have a couple of rain showers along I-43 here in Walworth County, but let's go back because I think that this will really help a little bit. So
before you do that, tell us what we should be watching for here.
Absolutely. So, well, you're just going to see a big blob.
Okay.
Basically. So this is about 4:30, all right? 4:34. Now, you see, let me zoom this in a little bit. There's Lake Geneva right in the middle of your screen there. All right. So Delavan right there as well. So we'll really zoom this in for you. Whitewater at the top of your screen. So just so you can see how this unfolded. Now we go to 5 o'clock. Look at the heavy rain there. Darien heading into Lake Geneva. Now, this is when the severe thunderstorm warning came to be. Look at all the lightning.
Yeah.
And this was, we were talking to Holly at this point in southwestern parts of Walworth County. Now we're getting towards the 6 o'clock hour. Let me turn the lightning off. So now you can see how this went from kind of, I was calling it mush earlier, right? Went from kind of mushy, then all of a sudden, boom, look at the organization here. And you can see south of Lake Geneva, there's a little bit of a notch, and I'll circle that for you here. There was a little bit of a notch developing right there. You see that? Just south of Lake Geneva. And this is likely where these winds were starting to kick in. Now watch that notch. You see that notch continue into western Kenosha and southwestern Racine counties. And now we're at about the 6 o'clock hour. Now look at this. I'll circle this for you right there. All right, it's that same notch. Let me back it up. There's your notch. Now look at it. Now we're at 6:05, and I'm going to zoom this in for you. You see how the notch became much more well-defined east of Brighton near Paris? Right there. That notch was the tornado. So, yes, that notch developed south of Lake Geneva, moved northeast over Paddock Lake, moved not far from Union Grove. Now I'll take you another step forward. You still see the notch just crossing Interstate 41 right at the county line. And now I'll take you another step further. And that goes right into the Racine area over Wind Point and out over the lake. So that's the track. So again, I'll just kind of draw a generalized track here for you, which was essentially just like that yellow line, and I don't know how well you can see that with the box, but I'll zoom that in and try to make that a little bigger for you. So it basically went from south of Lake Geneva, over Paddock Lake, over Paris, and then right over Racine, and right over the county line, and then out over Lake Michigan. So that kind of gives you the track there of that. And again, we've heard reports of tornadoes, confirmed tornadoes out of this and quite a bit of damage. So we know that there was rotation. And before we get to that damage photo, I think one more thing that I want to show you guys is the velocity out of this. So let's go back a little bit there as well, just to kind of show you, and you'll be able to see that here. Give me just 1 second. So you see that there? And I'll circle that for you. right here, where all those colors are right next to each other. That is the tornado. All right, so that was the spin on radar that got tighter as it continued to move directly over 45, and especially right there. I mean, this is intense rotation, probably at one of its strongest points when it was just south of Union Grove, just east of Brighton. So at the 142-45 interchange there, that's where it was extremely strong. And then it continued right over 41 just west of Summers. And when it was just north of Summers, it was still very much on the strong side. And I believe we caught that on camera, DOT camera. It continued to be strong over Racine before moving out over the lake. So that, I think, is an even better view. But the fact, guys, that this matches up with that notch that I was showing, that's the radar, essentially the precipitation rotating and the radar picking up on it. So it's very interesting at how fast, I know I talked about this earlier, but how fast it happened, how fast the rotation picked up, and again, how fast all of it moved through.
Can you tell from the radar where this might land on the Fujita scale, or is that only done by ground examination?
So that is only done by damage.
Okay.
Based upon what we're seeing in terms of the damage, the fact that this is largely tree damage, right? And we're not seeing house damage or, significant damage. I can make an assumption, which is likely to be EF0 to maybe EF1 damage. So it would be on the lower end of the scale. That, again, would be my assumption. But again, very important to say here, it's based upon the damage that it causes. And our Holly Baker just coming back in as well. We'll talk to her a bit later about her experiences. The damage that it causes is the rating then that it's given. And let me just give an example of that. Back when I worked in Nebraska decades ago now, there was a monster tornado, probably a half-mile wide tornado that was on the ground. And we're all sitting there going, oh my gosh, this is going to be like a 4 or a 5, right? Well, it hit a farm field. It was rated a 0. So you can also have monster tornadoes which we can tell, by the way, on the velocity, which this was not, right? This was on the velocity. It looks like it was a lower end tornado as well. But you could even get large tornadoes that don't hit anything.
We're going to break in right now. Sam Kramer is speaking with someone who's kind of dealing with some damage. If you don't mind, if we can just switch over to Sam.
And it only lasted like 30 seconds. And this, it went through and it was gone. But I see there's a trailer tipped over in the lot.
At U-Line?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's maybe more than one. So, it got pretty windy. I don't know if it was a tornado.
There was a confirmed tornado around this area.
It was pretty close.
Yeah. What did it sound like?
Well, it's just like, whoosh. A big whoosh. It don't hang around.
Yeah.
It comes and goes pretty quick.
I'm guessing you were looking out, and there's still some strong lightning there. When you're looking out, you could see. When that wind picked up, did you lose visibility at all outside?
Oh, yeah. It was raining really hard.
Describe for me, if you would, like what you saw just as that was coming.
Well, the wind picked up, and it was raining before the wind picked up. And all of a sudden, all the trees around my house and bushes, they all started, bending over. And it only lasted like a minute, and that wind was gone.
Did your house take any damage? I know you're without power, but is your house okay?
No, I don't think so. I got a shed in the back. Looks like the roof got lifted up, but that's no problem.
It's still on?
Yeah.
Okay, just kind of lifted from...
Yeah,
okay.
Lifted to one end up.
So could you see that U-Line trailer from your backyard?
Yeah.
Do you mind if we come look at it?
Okay, we're going to let Sam do that. That's a live interview that Sam is doing with a homeowner there in Kenosha County who heard that storm system come through. Whether that person saw or heard the actual tornado, we're not sure, but the timing sure matches.
And he is without power, as so many are in Kenosha. Brill Preciado is also to the south. Let's check in with her. with neighbors who are also without power. Is that correct, Abril?
We're not too sure about the power, but I can tell you that these neighbors here in Racine were definitely in with the shock during dinner time. Just take a look at the impact they faced not that long ago. They tell me that their detached garage was set on fire. Look at the damages that you can just see inside. We know it's a little dark, but you could kind of see just like the wetness because obviously it was raining, but just like the mess that it left. Right now we're getting that strong smell of smoke that is just lingering in the area. Luckily, as you guys can see, it seems like it was just a tool type of garage. No one was inside. The homeowners tell me that they were shocked. They have family over right now, and so it was something that was shocking for them to hear. Now the fire department quickly responded. The Racine Fire Department quickly responded. They tell me that they believe it was caused. Well, they believe, they're not confirming completely yet, that it might have been caused by the lightning. They tell me that they have received a couple of calls too regarding the lightning and a couple of structures that were also hit, but they believe that this garage right here that you're seeing right now is among those that were impacted.
Do we
right
know
now.
where
Again,
exactly?
luckily no one was hurt.
I'm sorry, Abril, do we know exactly where the lightning might have hit that garage? Is there a clear point?
So right now, this is the only location that we know of at this time. This is near Virginia Street. At least from what the fire department was able to tell me when we got here on the scene, they told me that this is the first actual building that actually was struck by the or that was set on fire. Everything else was kind of like either down trees or wires. This is the first structure that they have received a call of a fire, which they believe could have been caused by the lightning. Right now, we also
it looks like a tin can, like something just like peeled back this door.
Yes, no, it really did. And let me show you guys over here. I'm going to have our photographer, Matt, just kind of show you guys a little bit, some other parts of the damage that we're seeing. Look at these broken pieces from the garage.
The doors, like parts of the garage off.
Yeah, this is part of the door. Look, you could kind of see the glass right here kind of shattered. And obviously, these are the pieces that you see that are just kind of hanging from there, from the actual garage, that somehow came over here, along with the wood that's just kind of lingering over there, right next to the garage. Yeah, he's pointing it over right now so you guys can see. But yeah, we're definitely here, smelling that smoke right here.
Did the homeowner talk about what they heard?
Yeah, so once again, they tell me that they were inside of their home. I think this happened, I believe they told me that this was around maybe 6:30, just hanging out, and then they heard a loud boom, and that's when they realized their garage was on fire. They tell me that the Racine Fire Department quickly responded, and they're not the only ones that heard it. Their next door neighbors also told me that they were having dinner, and they also heard that loud boom and came outside, and they saw this happening. Luckily, in this case, it looks like everyone, no one was hurt. Everything was put out on time, and it looks like the fire obviously has been contained. It's just now the family's now dealing with having to deal with the damages right now. And to answer your question, Kim, from when you guys tossed it over to me, it does look like they are left without any power. I'm gonna have our photographer Matt kind of show you guys the windows because it is dark inside their home right now.
If you could go back to the garage for a second.
Said? Sorry.
I know you weren't there when the firefighters arrived, but is all of that, we see that gaping hole in the garage, was that done as part of the firefighting procedure, really, just so they could get hoses in there and everything? The lightning didn't cause that, right? I just want to be really clear on what we're looking at. What did the firefighters tell you about that?
They didn't tell. I wish I could confirm that information, or I could give you guys a set answer, but they didn't. All they told me was that the structure was on fire.
Gotcha.
All right, Abril Preciado, thank you. So that's just some of the damage.
Right now, I know the homeowner wanted to speak with us, but I know he got caught up with a couple officials. But if we were able to speak with him later on. Well,
Sure.
obviously show you guys.
Why don't we free you up to do that? Thank you so much for those pictures from Racine County. Why don't you go talk to the homeowner, and maybe if he can talk a little bit about what damage the lightning caused and what was the result of crews needing to get in there to fight that fire.
That's a good observation, because part of that garage clearly looks like there's some kind of a cut.
Yeah.
Of, as they were getting into that, that burning.
I want to be clear about what we're showing,
Exactly.
folks.
But we have, and we thank you so much for submitting your pictures and your videos of what you were seeing. This is from Dan Fisher, and you can, I believe this was also in Kenosha County, and you can just, Mount Pleasant, the dark and those thick clouds and you see the lightning.
Lightning as well,
and
yeah.
You hear this. About 4 o'clock this afternoon, when we started seeing things get more serious for us. Dan sending in video and a couple of pictures. Jennifer, what else do we have? This is from our photographer, Tim Primo, who safely took this video. He was inside of a parking garage, and you can just see the winds and the rain. That was the other part of the storm.
This was Kenosha County around 6:30 tonight, I believe, when those rains were hitting the hardest. And they had smartly positioned themselves in a parking garage with the understanding that they might have to do that. And this is video. Again, this is Fox 6 video, right? Jennifer, this is from Tim Primo.
And you hear the alarms warning folks to, find a safe place.
Yes, this is from our photojournalist, Tim Primo, who is with Sam Kramer tonight. Tim, also a volunteer firefighter, so.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, yes,
Okay.
absolutely. So he knows his way around those emergencies. And look at just the wind and the rain here.
And I believe Tim was in the town of Paris. So some of this may be from that area, but just a lot of rain and the winds and some lightning that was in the area that was also reported for this, warned severe thunderstorm.
And we're just getting so many great pictures and video. And look at this. This is from John. Do we know where this one is from?
I can tell you there's no power right now. Stephanie Barrichello is part of our weather coverage. She is following things, our social media posts. There were reports no power in Summers, Kenosha, near Interstate and 141. Neighbors have a tree on their roof, and it's raining inside of their living room. That report from Stephanie Barrichello as she's monitoring social media.
What county? I'm sorry.
Kenosha.
Kenosha County. That's where these pictures from John are from as well. As always, and then here's some, this is from Teresa.
Conditions in Racine, again, a lot of rain that came through. Power outages right now, 37,000 customers, 37,477 outages, most of those being reported right now in the Kenosha County area. There are about 278 outages in Kenosha County, around that area.
Around that specific area.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we're just watching more. These are all coming in to our newsroom. This is from Jacob here.
We also
showing a parent rotation in Kenosha. Look at this, Murph. Look at this. And if Tom is handy, or Rob, this is one I'd really like the meteorologist to weigh in on, because I'd like to know if we really are seeing that rotation. Sorry to put you on the spot, Waxy, if you're around.
I am here, yes.
Okay, yes. I didn't think you went anywhere.
Nope, I'm here.
Talk to us about what we're seeing here from Jacob in Kenosha.
Sure. So, I mean, this could potentially be a tornado that you're looking at. Oh, here we go. This might give us more. My question that I have looking at this, obviously this is very ominous. I don't know the exact location, but it does look to me like this could be, so it's interesting. This could be a tornado that you're looking at, or the shelf cloud, which is all the way to the ground, which makes it look like a tornado. The broader view makes me think that it's the shelf cloud all the way to the ground, but I don't know the exact location because there was intense rotation on radar. And if this matches up with that, this could have been that tornado as well. Just looking at it, though, it's hard. I'm not necessarily seeing rotation. Do you see how it's going straight left to right?
Yeah.
On the screen? That's making me think it's the shelf cloud all the way to the ground. And let me explain what that means. So that means the air is pushing down to the ground and then pushing out. So you wouldn't see rotation here. You would see the storm go left to right across the screen. If you're seeing it spinning, which I'm not seeing a ton of that, then you would be dealing with that being a tornado. And I know it looks like a tornado because it's all the way to the ground. The key here is going to be, is it spinning versus is it going straight left to right? And given that you're seeing kind of that broader view from right there, that may be, we saw another broader vantage point of this, that might be the shelf cloud coming all the way to the ground. But again, if I could correlate it with radar, I could tell you definitively one way or the other there. But either way, it's a very scary sight, isn't it, guys?
Absolutely.
Really scary. And Tom, we still have some rain out there. I'm taking a look. I'm sneaking a peek. We've got a crew on the road right now. Jennifer, who is that and where are they headed?
We can take a look at the radar if you'd like as well. Yes, we still have some radar around, but thankfully nothing like we had earlier. So still a few rain showers here and there coming through parts of our counties here, but again, nothing, still a thunderstorm pushing through Kenosha, but nothing like we had earlier. So a few more spotty showers. Where are we here on the road? I'm guessing Kenosha County?
Yes, this is Christina on the way to Kansasville.
Okay, yep. So she's going through a little thunderstorm right now, kind of on the backside of this system, as we have had a few more rain showers and rumbles popping up from Lake Geneva and points to the east. Nothing severe here, but of course, this doesn't help efforts, right, in terms of the cleanup and all of that. All this has to flush out of here, which will be over about the next hour to 2 hours. And then we'll completely dry things out. But no severe weather left to report, which is very good.
Very good. So what was the main characteristic of this system?
In terms of, like, how would I summarize it?
Yeah, I mean, it didn't seem like it was a big rain event. Or
it was for some,
okay,
but only really along the border. We had an inch of rain in about 15 minutes. In some areas right along the border. Here's again a look at the radar. Let me zoom this in for you a little bit so you can get an idea. We still have a few showers and thunderstorms in our southeast counties and a few light rain showers in Beaver Dam as the system is moving out. So how I would classify this is as follows. We had very heavy rainfall along the Illinois border. We had what I would call this mush of showers and thunderstorms at about 4 o'clock this afternoon. Then it transitioned into a nasty line of thunderstorms, which you now see to the right-hand side of your screen there on that top left screen. That is what blew through Walworth, Racine, Kenosha, and southern Milwaukee counties around 6 to 7 o'clock tonight. And that is what prompted tornado warnings for central and eastern Racine and Kenosha counties, and likely tornado touchdowns. As of now, they are confirmed tornado touchdowns. We just don't have any specifics yet on, the intensity of them or the precise locations. That will be worked out by the National Weather Service in the coming days. I would and we did have a severe thunderstorm warning in central and southern Milwaukee counties, and we also had a severe thunderstorm warning for eastern portions of Fond du Lac and most of Sheboygan counties for gusty winds as well. So that's the summary there. I would classify this as a very well forecast event by the Storm Prediction Center and the National Weather Service. And by that, I mean the moderate risk that we talked about, and also the tornado watch that was in effect for our southern counties, which, by the way, has been canceled. There are no watches and no warnings in effect. So I would classify it as a very well forecast event. The watch was perfectly placed. Unfortunately, we had the severe weather in our southern counties, but that was expected. And I will say this, and my biggest takeaway is how fast it ramped up. Meaning that, we went from heavy rain in southwest Walworth County to suddenly intense rotation as this thing crossed into Kenosha County and then into Racine County. So it ramped up very quickly, which in one hand was not a surprise. We were expecting that possibility, but just from a pure science standpoint, to witness that happen is really wild to see in real time. And that's what happened here. We were prepared for it. But again, just from the science standpoint, to see that happen. So again, and we could get in later to the whys of why this happened. We talked about this last night and during the day today of wind shear and jet streams and all sorts of things like that, right? That's why this happened, even in absence of bright sunshine and 90 degrees, right?
You're right.
Because the atmosphere is there. And Ted, I'll toss it back over to you.
Well, Tom, you know, they say in our industry there's no such thing as a stupid question, and
Sure.
I'm trying to prove them wrong. What happens? I'm watching this, like all our viewers right now, I'm just watching this radar as the storm goes over Lake Michigan. I've never known what happens to the storm when it gets on that open body of water. Is it bad news for Michigan, or does it just dissipate? Does it feed like a hurricane, or what effect does the lake have on this storm?
Good question. So oftentimes, now in this case, it looks like it has held its own, at least a segment of that line. In fact, let's see if they have warnings. They do. In fact, a tornado warning on the other side of the lake. And look at this as well. Down to the south, northern Illinois, they've tornado warned that cell as well. Again, no concern for us. But to your question, and that is not a stupid question at all, Ted. That's an excellent question. So what happens when these things roll out over the lake? Oftentimes they will strengthen. And the reason why is because it's a big blob of moisture, right? So it's sucking in all of that moisture that will often cause an increase in intensity. So even, late at night, that can happen as well. Now, sometimes you also get, more of a wind flow over the lake that's unimpeded by friction because you don't have the land. That can sometimes help matters as well. But typically, I'm sure our meteorologists in Western Michigan would agree with me, is they're probably concerned when they see lines like this come across because you will often see them strengthen. And I think that's a wonderful question to ask there. And that's what we're seeing tonight with tornado warnings now on the other side of the lake.
Another question I have, do we know if this system produced a lot of lightning? I know there's this investigation where Abril is, possible lightning strike. Do you have any sense of were there a lot of lightning strikes produced?
Yes, an insane amount, to be honest. In fact, let's just take this. This was about 6 o'clock tonight. I can get specific on you here. 6 o'clock tonight, and I'm just going to take this area from the border, and we'll go up. I'm not even going to include the activity that was in parts of Dodge County at this point. So let's just go Ozaukee County, central Dodge, central Washington, and south to just about the border. In fact, I want to actually let me redraw this one more time, and then I'll explain what this is here. So we're going to go where that red box is, okay? Now, you're going to see positive strikes, negative strikes. I'm not going to get into that right now, but I want to look at the strikes as a whole. And so in that red shaded area, by the way, the lightning strikes that you are seeing on the map here are cloud to ground lightning strikes.
Is that 700?
Yes, within a 5-minute period. So another way to look at this, guys, in that red box, 142 cloud to ground lightning strikes per minute.
So this is, again, reinforcement when we hear about the possibility of severe thunderstorms. And we're thinking, oh, just thunderstorms. No. I mean, look at all these lightning strikes that happened.
And important point to make here, Kim, is that we do not warn, or the National Weather Service does not warn for severe thunderstorms based upon lightning.
Wow.
It's only warned based on wind or on hail. So 58 mile per hour winds or greater, hail to quarter size or larger, obviously and a tornado and flash flooding. But you can have all of this lightning and not have a severe thunderstorm warning. In fact, just going back days long ago when I worked in Tennessee, we had a line of thunderstorms with no warning on it, but it had intense lightning like this. And I cut into programming and people were like, what are you doing? And I'm like, the lightning is insane. So I cut in to say, hey, look, it's not warned, but it's an intense storm. And I had people coming to me saying, car alarms were going off. Cars were getting struck by lightning. All houses, right, in this case tonight, getting struck by lightning. Well, in some of those cases tonight where we had those lightning-induced fires, there were no severe thunderstorm warnings.
Oh, wow.
Which is really fascinating to think about, right? Because that is not a criteria when issuing a severe thunderstorm warning.
So let me ask you this. Is this just a urban myth? But when there are thunderstorms, should you avoid, like, taking a shower? Like, I've always been concerned that a strike could, run through.
Yeah, piping.
Yeah.
I would say, if you could stay out of the shower, I would. I don't think the threat is as bad as it was years ago. However, yes, I mean, if your house gets struck by lightning, it's going to run, it's the path of least resistance, right? Yeah. Same thing, remember back in the day, it was like, don't talk on the corded telephone.
Yes,
Remember
yes,
that?
yes.
Right? Yeah, how old are we, right?
I'm older than all of you, so yeah, I remember that better.
Ted remembers the party lines. Yeah. But same thing with corded video games. We've heard about this before, and that's still very popular, right? Where you have the video game unit plugged into the wall, and then you have the corded controllers. Again, same thing with these power surges. Anything that's plugged in, can get fried by lightning going through your home. So I wouldn't take a shower in a thunderstorm, to be perfectly honest with you.
Nor would I stand under a tree, because remember, was it a couple years ago, a tragic couple was in D.C., visiting tourists, and they were struck by lightning. The tree was struck, and the current,
And you can get indirectly struck.
Yeah.
Here's the crazy thing. So you could be a little bit of ways from the big tree, but if you're standing over the root system, that electricity goes through the roots in the ground and will strike you.
All right.
Crazy, right? And I mean, think about Country Thunder. Remember that a couple years ago? The girl that got struck in the parking lot.
Yes.
I mean, lightning is very, very dangerous. And, it's interesting because you guys mentioned this, right? In Huracan, how, there was no tornado warning, but there was all that damage from the straight line winds. And this goes back to, as well, the lightning end of this, which is you're not going to get a warning for lightning. But I will tell you this, just to promote our FOX6 Weather app, or what we call our FOX6 Storm Center app, that gives lightning alerts, and it's free. And it's excellent because it will take your location and it will pair it to the lightning data and tell you lightning is 5 miles from you or something like that. And I'm telling you, that's so invaluable when it comes to being outside at Summerfest or what have you.
I stepped away for a second. Did you explain negative strikes and positive strikes?
I did not. I can explain.
I'm looking at that and I don't know, is one more dangerous than the other?
In a way, yes, but it almost has to do more of what part of the thunderstorm are the strikes coming from. So, so let me take a moment to explain that here. So, if you've ever heard before, and I won't tell the story now, but it happened to me once, where if you saw a picture of it was the kid in the mountains in the 70s. His hair is standing up.
Okay.
And then a short time later, he got struck by lightning.
Oh, jeez.
Because, and it happened to me once many years ago, too.
Because the static electricity got his hair to go up.
Yes.
And that attracted the lightning?
So what was happening
is... I was on a roll.
Yeah, you're there. You're there. So you have positive charges coming up from the ground, or positive charges coming up, in this case, from the person. And that's causing your hair to raise. And then you have negative charges coming down from the cloud. And if those two charges link up, you get your lightning bolt. So lightning doesn't necessarily always come from cloud to ground. It can start in the middle of the air and go both directions. It could start at the top of a radio tower or the top of a person's head and go up. I've seen it actually go up and then fan out. So typically we think of it as going from the cloud down. Right? Well, we have negative strikes and positive strikes. So depending on the part of the storm where the lightning is coming from. Now, we can get, you may hear it called bolt from from the blue sometimes. Thunderstorms, when they build to the top of what's called the troposphere, and then they spread out. You've heard of an anvil cloud before? Like the shape of an old blacksmith anvil, right? And so it fans out. Sometimes you can get lightning coming from the anvil of those thunderstorms. All right, so those are the positive strikes that you see there. Those can come up to 10 miles away from the thunderstorm. So this is why we say, if you can hear the thunder, you're close enough to be struck by the lightning. You could conceivably get struck by lightning when the sky is blue over your head.
So, Tom, we're going to speak with the mayor of Horicon in just a moment, but set the table for us. What did they see tonight, night two?
Yes. So what did they see last night?
What did they see? We know what they saw last night.
Yes.
What did they get today?
Sure. Let me back the radar up for you here. So Horicon got spared, obviously the worst of the storms tonight. However, let me zoom the radar in here before we talk to the mayor of Horicon here. So let me zoom in. Let's see if we can zoom in here. I got to turn the lightning off as well from this, so give me just a moment. So let me get this turned off. We'll go right in here. So there's Horicon. So you have Mayville, Horicon, Beaver Dam on the left-hand side of your screen. So let's now go through here. So this is 5 o'clock. They had showers and thunderstorms tonight, some heavy rain. Thankfully, nothing too crazy. Now they've got just some light rain pushing through. So again, very different from what they had last night. They did have some thunderstorms today, nothing severe, but again, given the fact that a roof was torn off, right, any rain is bad. Okay. So it'll be interesting to hear from the mayor here as to, specifically what they've experienced. They're getting a little more rain coming through tonight, but the severe weather threat is done.
Let's do that right then and give you a bit of a break, Tom. Thank you so much. Mayor Josh Moss joining us now over the phone. Mr. Mayor, or no, we got him over Zoom, even better, sir. You were Johnny on the spot yesterday. As soon as those buildings started to lose part of their facade and the roof, you were there.
Yep. Cody Vanderheij and I, he's our utility DPW director. We kind of are amateur storm spotters ourselves. So he just picked me up. I live only a couple blocks from downtown, and we were on our way out to the west side of town. And yep, we went right through it right when it happened. It was surreal.
It's incredible. We saw the roof came down on the sidewalk. It's a miracle that no one was walking by at the time.
Yeah, we have very heavy traffic for a small town. The marsh makes traffic a funnel in Dodge County, and it all kind of funnels through us east-west. You have 151 and 41 on the eastern and western boundaries of the county, but 33 is the funnel to go from, I guess, right to left or left to right, east to west. And I can't believe nobody got hurt. Nobody was out walking. But it also happened so fast. Yeah. It went from, and we were looking at our cameras from our City Hall cameras. It went from nothing to everything to almost nothing that quickly. It almost didn't seem right. But then the destruction that can happen in 10, 15, 20 seconds, unless you're there to feel it, it's hard to describe.
So make no mistake, you were going out, you were looking for storms. All you had to do was stay right there and on the main drag there. How is everyone doing today? Can you give us a status report on the buildings that were severely damaged?
Yeah, that I definitely can do. So the ones on the south side, so the ones where the roofs blew into the north side, those roofs were tarped today. I actually just got back about 10 minutes ago from taking kind of a quick tour on my John Deere Gator through town just to see if any of those tarps blew off. They didn't. Good. And the buildings on the north side, so the ones that took the brunt of the damage, the roofs flew into those buildings. They've been shored up today pretty well. The structural integrity we were worried about last night and today, the building owners had some people in, they put in some 2x4 walls to hold everything up, and the integrity is good enough where we took that barricade out that was blocking the traffic from being in that right lane that was along there. We still aren't allowing anyone on sidewalks, but at least traffic is, much more smooth through downtown. So we're lucky with that.
Where is the funding for repairs going to come from? Is there anything the city can do, or are these individual property owners on their own with insurance, or is there anything the county can do, or Horicon itself?
This is going to be, unfortunately, likely on the private landowners.
Okay.
And I don't know how what they're going to do as far as causal effects. If, I don't know where the blame's going to go back and forth on that, but this is going to be on them. The county is helping us with the displaced residents. We were able to now close up our Red Cross sheltering that we had here. We do have I think we end up having to get 14 rooms for the residents that were displaced, both on the south side and on the north side. They're spending 3 days in hotels, compliments of St. Vincent de Paul and Beaver Dam. And since those buildings won't be opened up for occupancy anytime in the near future, that we're going to help, the county's going to help them along with the city try to find new places to live.
Mayor Moss, I believe it was in Horicon that, I think it was our Ashley Sears spoke with a woman who was just understandably beside herself because she lost everything and doesn't know what's going to happen next. And I think there's a GoFundMe that's been set up.
Yes. Those residents were meeting with the Dodge County Crisis Team, Red Cross, and everybody. They stayed last night in City Hall. So the Red Cross set up the sheltering right there. And a lot of our city staff, our fire department, DPW, our police, our EM, they were with them all day too. And once the building inspector allowed them to go up and get some of their stuff, they grabbed as much as they can. Some of the apartments you couldn't get into. They were completely open, like skylights up above, but majority of the apartments allowed people to go in. Some of them had cats, that they wanted to get in there and get. So at least they're able to get, hopefully, their most prized possessions. And once some of the building integrity is restored on the south side of the road, hopefully they can go get more. But we're not anticipating anyone being able to move in for a while.
What's your role now? You're a small town mayor, but you also seem to be hands-on. What's your role? How much can you do on a personal front, and how much can you do in your role as mayor?
On a personal front, fortunately, I've been a state employee for 25 years. I kind of do this for a living, the emergency management down in Madison. So I'm kind of trained for these kind of situations. And, we make sure we had the right people here in town in the positions of fire chief, police chief, DPW director, and the like to be able to handle these kind of situations. So my job is to hand it off to the people that are trained to do their job. And I'm kind of more into the behind the scenes, helping everything get set up and taking a lot of these opportunities, to talk to you guys out of their hands so they can do their job. And that's actually helped us out quite a bit. And going forward, I think that we're going to, turn over a little bit of it to Dodge County Emergency Management. They're the full-time pros at this. And we're going to do what we can to help any of our residents. They all know how to get a hold of me. I'm born and raised here. They need my help. They know how to get a hold of me.
Mayor, thank you so much for the update. So just to recap, the tarps that were put in place last night, they stayed in place today when we had another round of storms. There was some concern about the north side buildings and the structural integrity. The good news is things are looking good.
Yes.
I do want to ask and clarify one point, sir. You said the stretch Lake Street there, which is also Highway 33, you're keeping that closed for now. Are the businesses open?
The businesses that are outside the three buildings on the south side, they're open. The restaurant on the north side, the bank on the north side, they're fine. The road itself is open. It's finally completely open. The sidewalks in front of the damaged buildings are what we still have shut down.
Gotcha. I want to just get that clarified. So Danny Boy's is back open. They closed last night. Okay. Because
they're open. They're good to go.
Last night was 75-cent wing night. And tonight was Gyro Burger night.
Yeah.
So, you know, we got to keep the schedule going here.
Mayor, thank you for your time. I know it's been a long night, even though, you know, it's been a long night. I know that those 14 rooms and those people who are affected weigh heavily on you. So thank you for your time. We're going to reset. Ashley Sears, as I said earlier, spoke with someone who now has to regroup, who has to start her life again. We're going to share that with you. I'm going to scoot out. Ben Handelman will be the next voice that you see and the next person you see in the seat. But this is from Ashley Sears, filed earlier this afternoon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
They all have to go somewhere. Some of them don't have any place to go.
It's a shame. That building's been there as long as I lived in Horicon.
And again, those are some of the people affected, the 14 people displaced. We're talking to our Ashley Sears today, and we just got done talking to Josh Moss. Ben, welcome back from World Cup coverage.
It's been a wild night.
You were off weather duty for a while, but not really, because you got trapped in it down on Brady Street.
Yeah.
You felt like you needed to stay there for a bit.
Just like anybody who was out in it. I mean, that was some serious lightning. We haven't seen lightning like that in some time. No street flooding per se, but I will tell you I had to run home and get some new socks.
Yeah.
Because he was just walking through the roads. I mean, there's no way to get around. It was interesting talking to the mayor. You know what I really liked from that interview? He says he was scooting around town on his John Deere on the Gator.
Yeah.
They make those in Horicon right at the factory, which is right next to where those building roofs went off. So the factory is right there.
There's a reason he gets reelected. Yeah, he knows his people. They know him.
I didn't know if that comes with the job. Like, do you get a Gator if you're the mayor? I don't know. You deserve
Mayor
one.
Milwaukee, do you get a free Harley? That might be worth throwing into the deal.
As we hit this new quarter hour here, it's 8:16 here on your Fox Local app. The thing I'm looking at is Kenosha. I'm looking at the power outage numbers. They led the state yesterday in power outages. And they're over 16,000 today. Yesterday it was only like 5,000. But see the Kenosha County numbers? 16,000 are coming from the city of Kenosha. It just tells you they've been hit so hard. So that's my focus right now. A lot of people are dealing with this one night. Kenosha, we know you've dealt with back-to-back nights of this.
And going back to last night, the numbers were about that. About 35,000,
Yeah.
I think, was the peak last night. So we're a little higher tonight. But those numbers, We Energy Crews, they cut them in half and half and half again.
Correct, got them pretty much all the way down.
They did get them up and going. So let's go to Sam Kramer, speaking of Kenosha. Sam, you are there. You've seen some stuff tonight. What sticks out?
Yeah, hi there, guys. We are, let's see, we were on our way to Paris, but we pulled over. We haven't really been able to reliably join you live from that area because the cell service is not great. And so we figured we would stop a little bit just to talk about what we have seen. In Paris, certainly signs of, I believe the language we're using is an observed tornado, where the trees are down and the direction at which they have fallen seems to line up with exactly what our chiefs were saying as that was happening. And photojournalist Tim Primo and I were, again, hanging inside of a parking garage where you're seeing everything. You're seeing definition of the clouds. You're seeing some rain. And then all of a sudden, the wind picks up. You lose a lot of that visibility. And boy, did we just get pummeled and pummeled with rain. You saw some of that video earlier. Paris was about the first spot that we started to hear some of those reported damage reports first sent to the National Weather Service. We're talking, if you know where the Mars Cheese Castle is, the due west from there, almost exactly behind the U-Line production facility. What did we see? We saw trees down in the roads there on 136. We saw power lines down there. We saw a flagpole snapped about 3 feet up from the base of it. At the west side of that U-Line facility, we actually see a tractor trailer. Just the trailer, not an actual full semi here, but just the trailer was tipped over as well. Not sure if it had anything in it. Certainly if it was empty, that would make it more susceptible to the strong winds that we saw. But power is out in that stretch, again, in the town of Paris. And talking to people that live there, again, kind of described the same thing that we felt inside that parking garage, where you're looking at the rain, okay, you're noticing the wind pick up, okay, all of a sudden, we spoke with one gentleman who said, you know what, I think now is the time I better get into the basement. He says no more than 2 seconds later, he heard a loud thud, and what that was a massive tree, I forget which kind, tipped over into on his front yard. He said his front door, which wasn't deadbolted, he just locked the actual handle, was blown open, and his storm door again just kind of off of its rails there. So there is a lot of damage here, certainly, that folks in the town of Paris here in Kenosha County are having to deal with now, again, after this, what we believe to be an observed tornado rolled through.
I'm just looking at some of the storm damage reports that we've got. 18th Street in Kenosha, tree down. I'm seeing more tree downs in Honey Creek, that'd be western Kenosha County. Sam, from your perspective, I mean, it just came through kind of like last night, really quick. I mean, these were fast-moving storms. And I mean, I only have the perspective when I was down on the east side of Milwaukee, torrential rains. There, all the juice was in the atmosphere, and those clouds were feeding off of it.
Well, you know what, too, and what I find so interesting about this, at least right now, is that we had the tornado watch, and so we were just kind of keeping our eyes peeled. We were on top of this parking garage. And you're like, well, you have a little bit of rain, started to have a little bit of flashes of lightning, but overall, like, we weren't necessarily in the action, so to speak. And then all of a sudden, the sirens start going. Our phones start telling us that there's an imminent threat, and then, boy, just all of a sudden, it happens so fast. And I think that just speaks to why these watches and these warnings are in place. Because if you're not thinking about it, if it's not top of mind, just how quickly it can happen is just crazy. So it looks like we have a sheriff's deputy here behind us that I'm not sure if they want to talk to us or not, but
it's the old classic. Yeah, why is this car parked on the side of the road? And Sam Kramer
it's probably checking to see if you're okay. Hey, Sam, I know you said you pulled over because you're heading to Paris, and the cell service is spotty. Tell our viewers why. We have reports of a barn down. Is that correct? Is that the one you're heading to?
We had those reports, and that's not in Paris. That's over in Kenosha, as this deputy's walking up to us. I didn't see a barn down, not at a pumpkin farm or what have you. So.
You guys are with the news?
Yeah, Channel 6.
Okay, I was just wondering.
Yeah, no, we're okay. Are you okay?
Yeah, all good.
Okay.
Yep.
We just got
perfect.
Good signal here.
Yeah.
We were further over where the damage was.
Storm chasing a little bit?
Yeah, just checking on us.
Yeah,
okay, so we're all good. We did have an unconfirmed report of a barn that was down near a pumpkin farm in this area. We drove around the pumpkin farm. We didn't see it.
Okay.
A little bit east of there is a street light that is down. And so a Kenosha County Sheriff's deputy has actually blocked eastbound traffic. I don't remember what street that is. I apologize. But I did not see a barn down at this time.
Okay, the beauty of Fox Local, guys, is that you see news in the making. We want the viewers to know what our day is like, how we gather the news. And that was not scripted. Was that a Kenosha County Sheriff's deputy? Checking on you?
As a Kenosha County Sheriff's deputy.
Well, kudos to him. First of all, thank you, deputy, for checking on our guys.
Doing his job. That's what they're doing.
Doing his job, right?
Yeah, just making sure these people are okay.
And I love the way you asked him, "Are you okay?" Because he's probably seen a lot of stuff tonight as well. So good on both of you.
Yeah, I got to tell you, being in that parking garage, and Tim, I don't know if you feel the same way. That was a bit of a harrowing experience.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, you guys saw the video. It's in our Slack channel. I think you showed it. And I don't know if you guys were able to pull any of the video that we took. I mean, it's really something to see that trailer down behind the U line, or just to hear. Okay, so it's just incredible. I mean, just to see, just imagine the force that would be required. We're going to get nerdy physics here, which is a class that I didn't do particularly well in. Just imagine the strength that it would require to push that trailer over. Is just incredible. And that's so you're hearing the sirens that we saw on top of this parking garage, and then just downpour. I mean, I'm seeing rain rush through the tops of light fixtures. There were I'm not sure exactly how this one is designed, but there are holes within the middle of it. It's not like it's fully enclosed. And so it's just downpour here and there, kind of an immediate flash flood through the ramps of this parking structure. And then, just to come out here to see what these people are dealing with in Paris, it's hard. It's tough to see, again, when you consider just how quickly it happened.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we can show some of the cloud formations. because some of the images that we've gotten, we've shown them on our air, are just incredible. But honestly, from my perspective in Milwaukee, I didn't have a view like you guys did down in Kenosha, maybe because we were a little more rain wrapped right before this moved through, because we had light rain in Milwaukee. But just, I mean, look at this, and I'm telling you, and we're going to show more of these images here on Fox Local, but that shelf cloud that you guys had a beautiful shot of in Kenosha, it's ominous, it's a little terrifying when it's coming in, but it also says Mother Nature is serious about what is about to happen. I'm not sure if you had a good view of those clouds when they moved through.
Yeah, albeit brief, right? Before it all just kind of gets wrapped around. And I just want to actually point out something quickly for the viewer and perhaps for my family members. We were in touch with Stephanie Barrichello, making sure that we were in a good place. We were south of it. But I think we might have still felt some of the remnants, if not the actual body of this thing, just because of the sheer force of those winds. I actually got out of the truck and walked more toward the center of that garage. Kind of makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up a little bit. So, yeah, again, harrowing, I think, is the word I will use.
Is it the most intense weather situation you've ever seen? Witnessed yourself?
No. Tell you what, here, yes.
Yeah, you're
talking
talking about
wildfires and gotten very.
I was going to say, Sam has a career where you've been out west, Sam, and you've shared some of those stories with me.
Yeah, and I went through training so that I wasn't just some willy-nilly kid with a collar and tie. Like, I actually understood the fire, and I understand fire behavior, so I could understand what they were doing. But I got, too close for comfort on some of those situations. But here, definitely, the color of the skies, but actually it brings me back to April too, right? Because I think I told you guys that night, it almost felt like we had the tornado warnings tied to a string in the back of our truck. Everywhere we went is where the tornado warning triggered. And tonight we decided to come to Kenosha after consulting our meteorologist, because it seemed like this would be a good place where we could get to safely before it came through, and then hunker down and then be in a position to see what we've seen. So kudos to them.
Well, don't you love it when a plan comes together? Like, that's the way it was supposed to work. All right, where are you heading now? Because we should free you up, because we're going to need you in the 9 o'clock hour and the 10 o'clock hour. So as you say goodbye, tell our viewers where they can see you next.
8:26. I think we're going to try and head back to Paris, and if the stars align, we'll find somewhere where we can be that has a reliable cell signal. Otherwise, I actually just put together a quick video and put it onto my Facebook and Instagram accounts, TikTok as well, because that's the world we live in now. And you can actually see what we saw and actually hear from one of those homeowners too. So
you've maybe given the best description. We'll know exactly where you are. Go to the Cheese Castle and go directly west. I mean, all of our viewers know exactly where this storm damage is.
When he said, do you guys know where the Cheese Castle is? I'm like, he better be asking that rhetorically. Yes.
This is something, if you're viewing us from Fox Local and you're in, say, Florida, and Sam's like, yes, you just go west of the Cheese Castle, that may seem strange. But to us, we're like, we know exactly where that is.
We know where it is, and the Pope knows where it is. That's the thing that I love so much.
And why do I feel like that was the one place that was okay during the storms? Because it's a fortified
castle,
it's a castle full of cheese.
Yes. I mean, the science is there. It works out. All right, Sam, thank you so much. Be safe. Thanks to you and Tim Primo, photojournalist, who piped in and said, yeah, kind of scary, which is about all you're going to get out of Tim on a situation like that. So.
That was the first time I think in a while too we've had a deputy come up and be like, whoa, wait, what's going on here? So interesting there.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to bring you some of the video that I shot actually when I was down on the east side tonight and just show you what it looked like. Now, during the game, we had a World Cup game. It kicked off today, Mexico, South Africa. This was afterwards. So these people may be
This isn't necessarily weather video, right?
Well, they may be 6 tequila shots deep. I'm just going to say that. But, I mean, they've got a great little setup there. But, look, this is still an outside area, and this is when the rain was really coming down. And it was just – these people are dancing on water because there was a river kind of running right through there. So, but I got to give credit to DPW crews because looking at the storm drains and everything – A-OK on the east side, from my perspective at least, coming up here.
And DPW and maybe citizens, because they were asked, hey, clean the storm drains around. And so a lot of people who probably experienced that April flooding said, I'm not going through this again, maybe took it upon themselves to do a little of the cleaning.
That's true.
As they asked, as Jason Calvi pointed out in his story yesterday, they were asking people to do a little bit of that.
I know we've had Brendan Conway on here from We Energies. He has a great point he made earlier. He says, when you want to see where the storm hit hardest, open up the We Energies outage map and look at it. And I'm just looking at the top cities right now. We talked about Kenosha, Union Grove number 2, Milwaukee number 3, about 3,900 customers without power in the city of Milwaukee. And then we're going to talk about places in Kenosha and Racine counties. Bristol, down in Kenosha County, 1,848. Kansasville, 1,540. The city of Racine, 1,438. That just tells you most of Bristol and Kansasville. They're pretty much in the dark right now. Franksville, 886 people without power. Burlington, 847. East Troy, 834. So all these places, take Milwaukee out of the mix. I mean, pretty much all in the same kind of spots as we saw. I mean, that image that Sam showed us from inside the parking garage.
If you said, where's this video from? I'd say, oh, this is a hurricane. This is in South Carolina or something. No. It was right here in Kenosha County. Christina Benzels has also seen some things tonight. She's out and about. You were last in Walworth County, I believe, when we checked in with you. You were in Walworth County. Are you still? And you're in Burlington, of course you are. What are you seeing?
Yeah, we're actually standing next to the town of Burlington Fire Chief Bill Vercoda here. And Bill, you've had a busy night. Tell us what the town of Burlington has experienced with these storms.
So the town of Burlington tonight had a majority of major incidents that resulted from some shear winds that uprooted the trees that then contacted the power lines and put stress on the lines and broke some of the poles. We didn't have any injuries that we were reported ourselves. The Racine County Sheriff's Department and our crews made contact with all the homeowners, make sure they were okay. We usually try to key in on any elderly that may need electrical power for oxygen use or anything like that. We did not have any of that. No incidents, no major injuries. There was some trees that did contact some buildings, but nothing that broke through the structures or made it structurally unsound. So
it's always good news when there's no injuries, but we're standing actually in front of one of those major areas where the trees are down. Can you describe to our viewers what we're looking at over here?
So what we're looking at is a tree uprooted. It came across the road. It contacted a majority of the power lines that fed this street and put stress on the utility poles that then in turn snapped them off. So we contacted We Energies Electric. They're going to come out. They're going to make sure everything is good. Just a word to the public, the reminder that all power lines are deemed energized until We Energies tells you they are not. So as it gets darker, we want to make sure that everybody stays in their house, that you check on your neighbors. If you have phone numbers, please call, let them know to stay in their homes. We did go door to door safely. We were able to do that. So then we made sure everybody knew to stay inside tonight. So,
and that's why we're standing right before the road closed sign for safety reasons. As it gets dark, what are your crews doing tonight? Is it cleanup? How do you work with We Energies? What's your role when it comes to this kind of thing?
As far as that, We Energies crews are going to be very busy, obviously, throughout the county. So when they can get here, they will make sure they'll make contact with the homeowners. I know We Energies does put out reverse calls to let people know about the power outages in the area. So they'll be taking care of that. Our crews did return to quarters, so we're available for anything else that comes. Our town DPW has been out there, the ones that were putting out the road closed sign. So then that frees up the Racine County Sheriff's deputies to handle other calls that come in. So that's pretty much what our role is once it kind of winds down, that we're just on standby for anything else the public may need us for.
What stands out to you about this storm? We were talking before about how Burlington always seems to have like the wind come into this area. What do you notice about the town?
The area of this part of Boners Lake does historically have had shear winds that come through, and it's not uncommon to have some damage of this sort in a significant storm system. So I'm not sure. It's just been that way. I've been here for quite a few years, and this is one of the areas that we always know is probably most likely going to be affected.
So as we look out on the lake side of things, is there any damage that sticks out to you here, or are we standing kind of in front of the main tree that was down close to where we're at?
As we look out, there really was no other damage around here. Some of the surrounding streets did have, like Park Avenue, had a tree down, but it's majority of this area, and then on the other side by like Evergreen Terrace and other places like that. So.
You said things are calming down a bit now, but how busy was it for you when that storm came through a couple of hours ago?
We had the initial call, and as we responded, our crews and other sheriff's deputies were letting us know as we were driving through the neighborhoods they were finding more. So we ended up finding 4 or 5 more incidents that wasn't reported. We just handled those, made the dispatch center aware of it, and also We Energy. So that's something that we like to do. We survey the area where the immediate damage is to make sure there's no other effects to the public.
I know it's early and reports are still coming in, but do you have any number on how many trees down there are in the town of Burlington at this point?
Rough estimates initially are anywhere from about half a dozen to a dozen. I did talk to our DPW head, and we wanted to make sure that we addressed all the road closures we need to, and that's the number that he had given me and what I have talked to the sheriff's department about.
Anything else that sticks out to you about this street? It's hard to tell since we haven't been over there. Does this go through to another neighborhood area?
It's a shortcut through to another main trunk of the area. There's 4 houses that are affected by this that will not have power, and they know to stay inside. Right before we came to do the interview, there was somebody that came from a tree trimming service that somebody already had made contact, so they were surveying that damage too. So our DPW will work throughout the evening and into tomorrow to at least clean the roads up so the traffic can flow nicely as long as the energized lines are taken care of. So.
And speaking of those energized lines, you already gave some reminders. But is there anything else you want to remind people while we have you here of what to do now that the storm has passed just to stay safe?
If you do find any down power lines, be it cable or phone or electric, just make sure that you treat them as they are live. We don't know that until the utility companies come out. So please call 911 if you feel it's an emergency, or the non-emergency number to the Racine County Dispatch Center or your local utilities to make them aware of that. So again, just make sure that you treat all power lines as being live until deemed by the utility companies.
I'm curious, you said you've been here for a while, you've lived here for a long time. How does it make you feel when you see damage like we're seeing up the road here?
It's a concern for myself and for our community, but I will say the townspeople are very resilient. This happens, multiple times throughout the year, and they know how to handle the situation. Education's a big part of that, so they do very well. They're very resilient.
That's great to hear. Well, Chief, thank you so much. We will be out here in the area too, so if you or anyone watching has reports, call you guys, right?
Okay, wonderful. Yes, thank you for your time.
All right, Chief, thanks. We'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
Yeah, I just was on the phone texting with another Racine County fire chief, asking him about damage, and he says, you got to talk to Burlington. I was like, well, funny you mention that, because the Burlington fire chief is on right now. Is he still there? I just was wondering about lightning strikes. We had so much lightning that I didn't know if they had any issues with people's homes getting hit, smoke filling in the homes, getting calls like that.
Yeah, he is still standing here, so let me ask. We're wondering if you've had any calls related to lightning. There's been a lot of lightning strikes. Did you have any sort of calls related to that?
No, we personally did not. There was some other calls that I did hear throughout the county, but as far as the town of Burlington, we did not have any lightning strike that we are aware of currently.
Do you know where those lightning strikes within Kenosha County were?
They were within Racine County, but I do not know. I was concentrating on what we had to do, and there was just background radio traffic. So
makes sense. All right, thank you.
Thanks, Christina, and confirmation that they all kind of have an ear out what's going on in other communities in the county as well.
We can tell you that a garage in Racine County, in the city of Racine, was hit by lightning. April Preciado was on that scene earlier, so we do know of at least one that hit a garage, started the garage on fire. They were able to put that out, so at least one.
Yeah, I mean,
cool. Thank you.
We were talking with the
gosh,
weather.
this freaking flew
talking
off
with the weather experts just about all the. If we could kill that microphone there. We were talking about all the lightning strikes. The weather experts. I mean, just being out on the east side too, I mean, just pick your community here in southeast Wisconsin. It was boom after boom after flash after flash. I mean, you couldn't keep up, and it's pretty rare we have a lightning event like we had tonight.
When you drove in from Brady Street, stopped at home and came in, how was it weather-wise outside?
Just like Christina's,
just
like
like-
birds are chirping, people are walking their dogs.
It's a beautiful summer night. Let's get out and enjoy.
Isn't it incredible though? Just taking that shot from Christina, you're just listening in the background. It's like, oh,
Yeah, it
you
looks
can
like a
hear the birds out, and it's
beautiful
very
night
quiet.
in Burlington.
Yeah,
you
sheesh.
bet. We have some video, right? Some more pictures, more video to share with you. This is coming in from Danielle. I don't know where, so if you could let me know. This is in Honey Creek in Walworth County. You can just see it's coming down sideways. It's not that different than the video Sam Kramer had in the city of Kenosha parking garage that he was at. It's almost a sideways wind there. It's lightning, everything. That's a full thunderstorm right there. What else we got?
There's a lot of damage associated with that one as well out there in Honey Creek. There are a lot of trees down. I believe this is from Kenosha. As you just see, I mean, that is the shot of the clouds as this storm system was making its way through. And
This is a different angle than we've had before, Ben. This shelf cloud is probably the most photographed part of nature tonight. We've gotten a lot of great shots of it. This is from a different angle, and I'd be curious if Tom was still around to weigh in on that, because we looked at video of a different, he's trying to think if it was a shelf cloud or if it was indeed a funnel cloud, and I just thought a different angle might help him there. He was leaning towards shelf cloud, though, and until we're proven otherwise. What else we got for you? People have just been great, and this is the same one again. This is from Stephen in Kenosha County. We saw this one. This one, Tom, it just really, it's
when
almost
you
like
zoom out.
Yeah, it's almost like a horror movie. It's like it's coming and you can't stop it.
Can you break down, Tom, kind of what we're looking at different levels of the clouds, of that shelf cloud that we're seeing there?
Of course. Yeah. So, and again, and part of the shelf cloud looks like it's coming to the ground, like here.
Right.
Right. And so I don't know if this is really the tornado. I'm not seeing rotation, right? It's more looking like it's moving from the left to the right.
Do you look to the bottom for the rotation?
Correct.
If you're looking
Correct.
at the
Bottom.
storm, that you just look at the very bottom?
Yep.
Because the tops will not be doing a giant circle, right?
Correct. So like watch this. So you see, if you look very closely, I'm not seeing spin. I'm seeing almost a straight movement. Do you agree with me?
I would agree with you.
So then if you look to the top, now you see those bands up at the top. Hang on, as it zooms out right there above the tree.
Yep, looks like a UFO.
Yep, those are called striations, and that is indicative of the entire storm spinning. So you're not seeing rotation in the lower levels, but higher up, that entire storm is circulating. So that's not indicative of a tornado, but that's indicative of a very strong thunderstorm. In this case, this is likely the shelf cloud that is extending to the ground. And if they were to zoom out even more, you'd probably see it extend the entire length of the horizon almost.
And maybe we could show that other video, Jen, because that's another just beautiful shot of that cloud.
This one, yeah.
Exactly. Okay, now this is a little more interesting.
I like when you say that, Tom.
Right?
Now you have me.
Tell us why.
Okay. I'm just kind of looking at this here. That, to me, looks like that could be a wall cloud. Now, I can't see the rest of it. You can only see that one portion, right? The lowering right there. But that, unless that extends the length, if that extends the length of the sky to the left, then that would be considered the shelf cloud. But that looks to me like that could be a wall cloud, which would be a precursor to a tornado.
Okay. Tom, hold your thoughts. I want to ask you more about that in a second. But Brendan Conway with We Energies joining us once again. Brendan, thanks for being here. We were talking about Kenosha once again, kind of the epicenter of all the power outages down there. I think in the city you're at more than 16,000 people. What's the latest?
Yeah, well, the latest is we have people out and about. We have actually I've seen some pictures coming out of Kenosha County of some of our power equipment, really bad damage. So there are going to be people out of power through the night into tomorrow in Kenosha County. I mean, we have an area around the town of Paris. I've seen a picture where there was multiple power poles that have been snapped, power lines down, and that just is a really long restoration effort. That's going to take us hours to fix it. Take out the old poles, remove the lines, put in new poles. It takes quite a while. Meanwhile, we're of course across the area because we have about 38,000 customers currently out of power. We were able to restore everyone who lost power yesterday, almost as this new storm came in. Listen, it's frustrating for people without power, but we're not going to stop. We're not going to slow down. We're going to work all night until everyone is restored.
Well, that was the impressive thing, Brendan, watching how the numbers were about 35,000 this time last night. And then every time we checked in, they seemed to be cut in half and then cut in half again. And then you said by the time this storm came through, do you have time to debrief on what your crews did right last night? Or is that going to be something you do next week because you had to get ready for round 2 today?
Yeah, it's this constant kind of talking, and whether fortunately or unfortunately, we've gotten a lot of opportunities to work on this in the last few years, right? We've had a lot of storms, so I think we have a good cadence. But certainly every storm is different, every power outage is a little bit different, so we learn and we adjust, but we also tackle it in a really rigorous way. We make sure we get on scene. The first thing our crews do is they assess it, they find the outage. Sometimes they can handle it themselves. It might take 1 or 2 people, but sometimes it's going to take extra resources. It might take a forestry crew to remove a big tree. It's going to take a piece of special equipment because we have to get in a narrow area with a truck. And so maybe that has to come from 20 minutes away or 30 minutes away, or someone else might be using it, and we can use it after that. So every outage is different, but we always have a good plan of attack, and we're always going to make sure we restore power as quickly and safely as possible.
The logistics is so impressive. Was it helpful that we had so many outages in Kenosha County yesterday, and then boom, here we go a day later? I mean, were a lot of your crews still in the area?
Well, first of all, we feel for the customers because I'm sure some customers have lost power twice during both of these storms. And so please, they should know, right? We're aware of that. We're going to work on it. We do move crews around. What is maybe some positive news is there haven't been a lot of storms to the north. And so if there's no storms up north in Green Bay, Fox Valley, we may be able to pull crews from there more quickly and then maybe try to pull others from farther north as we head into, the overnight hours and tomorrow. But at the same time, our crews, they work 16 hours on and then they're 8 hours off. So people have been working kind of nonstop. So while yes, we had people in Kenosha today, most of them probably would have timed out because they probably started at 6 in the morning or 4 in the morning, and they'll go home, get some well-deserved rest, and then come back tomorrow.
Well, the good news is tomorrow is looking like picture perfect to be outside and to do anything. Brendan, we know we want to ring you up again in the 9 o'clock hour, so we'll free you up right now, and we'll be talking to you on the Fox 6 News at 9. We appreciate your time. All right.
Thank you.
I want to get back out to Christina Van Zels because she's got another person to talk to standing by out there in the Burlington area. Who are you talking to, Christina?
Yeah, so we have Mike and Nancy O'Reilly joining us now, and they're actually one of the homes that does not have power because of the trees that are downed behind us. It's hard to see now that it's a little bit dark, but Mike, you were describing what this sounded like earlier. Tell us what you heard and what happened.
Well, the water was coming down like a wall of water across the lake. It was blowing this way. I was in my garage across the street, and all of a sudden it's an explosion. It was just an explosion right there where the transformer blew up.
How loud was it? I heard you called 911, right? When you heard it?
Yeah, but we couldn't. Well, you called. I couldn't get through.
Oh.
I tried to call We Energies, but the message said to use their website, and we couldn't use our computer because we have no power. So I called 911 and reported it, and they took care of it from there.
So for people who aren't familiar with this area, what are we looking at back here? I know that you can see the wires from the power line, but where is that light facing, and how far does this go back the street?
Well, this street goes all the way up the hill and around. It's kind of a dangerous street. It's a hairpin curve, actually, and people have been trying to actually go through here when there's a tree down across the entire road. But the noise when it came through was just deafening. Our dogs are subdued. We have 4 dogs in the house, and they don't know what's happening right now. So,
have you ever heard or seen anything like this in this area?
I've never seen a storm like this in my life. The way the water came flying through here, it was just like a wall of water. I was actually kind of concerned, to be quite honest with you.
And talk to me about damage. Right, because I know your home is here, but do you have any damage to your garage or anything?
I don't believe so, but it was coming down like you wouldn't believe. It was like hail pelting on the roof, and then I don't know if it was hail, but it was rain. And then I realized with all the lightning and the thunder, this is not a good place to be.
Did you take shelter then when this was all happening?
Well, and then that happened. That blew right there, so I didn't want to go out when that was going on because there was so much lightning. I was afraid I was going to struck myself.
Did you notice fire or anything? Was it smoking when this came down?
No, but it was an explosion. It sounded like a car bomb blew off. Wow. It sounded like somebody's car just blew up in the driveway.
Well, I'm glad you guys are okay. We heard from the fire chief no one was injured, so that's good news. Have you heard any word on how long it'll be until you get your power back?
At least till tomorrow.
At least.
So.
Which means you can't flush your toilets, you can't use the shower, your food, you can't open the fridge. So.
Well, thank you guys for describing what happened, and just hearing the explanation of the rain coming through the lake is the way you described it. I could picture it. Yeah.
It was a wall of water just coming through, blowing this way. I'd never seen anything like it the whole time we've been here.
Wow. Well, thank you both so much for talking to us. I know you don't have power. Maybe we'll have some good news and get it on sooner than tomorrow, but it sounds like We Energies is very busy tonight with similar situations across the county. We'll send it back to you in the studio.
Our apologies, Christina, because when we threw it to you, we were getting instructions on our producer on another matter. Did they say where they're going to go tonight? Did they have a place to go?
Our anchors are wondering where you are going to stay tonight. Are you staying here?
We'll be staying there. We do have power across the street if we need to charge phones and stuff.
But we have 4 dogs. Kind of hard to go somewhere with 4 dogs.
Yeah.
4 big dogs. German Shepherds.
Yeah. That answers that, Ted.
Gotcha. Well, we're glad. They seem to be in good spirits about it, and not everybody would be, so you got to appreciate that.
Get the old flashlights out. The old school. We hope it's just a night of no power.
Yeah. Oh, when you were a kid, you loved it, right? You loved it when
exactly.
the power went out. You could build a little fort and have the flashlight, and you fought with your brother over who got to hold the flashlight. But when you're an adult with responsibilities, it's a little tougher. We want to keep showing you all the videos we can. We've shown you this one a while, but it's worth the coming in. This was earlier this evening. This was about 5 o'clock, I believe.
Do we have Tom again? Because I did think it was fascinating as he's now gotten time to kind of ingest some of these videos. Okay, Tom, here's a new angle as these storms move through. You were talking about the different levels and the factors of kind of what you need to have rotation. I'm wondering the difference between a wall cloud and a shelf cloud, too. I don't know what we're looking at here. We're waiting to get Tom's mic open real quick here. But yeah, just really incredible.
I'm going to let Tom answer that.
Really incredible, this image. I mean, this is what so many of you saw, and I'm seeing all of your photos. I mean, keep them coming. Just so incredible what you guys all capture to help us tell this story, especially down in Racine and Kenosha counties. Because, yeah, when you see this, you know, and obviously we were on the air telling you, this is a potentially dangerous storm as these things started popping in Illinois, and then by the time they moved up and moved in our direction, it just, boom, popped up right over Racine and Kenosha. That's where it really got scary. We got one observed tornado. So, hey, Tom, thanks for joining us here again. As we've got this new image, I just wanted you, it was fascinating how you're breaking down the clouds the last time. I was just wondering the difference between the shelf and a wall cloud, and what do you see in this image?
Great question. So here we were looking at the line of storms coming through Kenosha County, the Racine County line here as well. And so this is a shelf cloud. Now, the shelf cloud, that is what you're looking at here, which forms from a line of thunderstorms. And how this forms is you have the cooler air spilling out from underneath the lip of that cloud. And as that cool air spills down, the warm air rides up on the other side of it, forming that cloud. That's how that cloud forms. So when this shelf cloud comes over your location, and we can peer right underneath it here, when that comes over your location, the skies open up. And so that's when you get the very strong winds, the very heavy rain. Now, of interest here is the dark spot straight ahead.
Yeah, and I'm seeing a little flash of lightning in there, I think.
Yep, and that could very well have been a rain-wrapped tornado. And that is, again, to be determined. However, this would have been in the area where we had the rotation. So the rotation was embedded within this line. So a shelf cloud is that big cloud that we were looking at. A wall cloud is a smaller cloud that is not as wide across the sky, but that is also rotating. And a wall cloud is a precursor to a tornado. So a tornado will come out of a wall cloud. Meanwhile, a shelf cloud is usually telling us that it's a big line of severe thunderstorms.
Okay, interesting there. Yeah, when you talk about it, when there's a tornado warning and your first instinct is like, well, I want to see it, I'm going to walk out. Here's a good indication why you don't do that, because you're talking about this is rain wrapped.
Yes, and that was the issue. I mean, there was so much precipitation with this activity, so much heavy rain, and yeah, you're not going to be able to see it until it's right on top of you. There is another vantage point, which hopefully we'll pull up here during our 9 o'clock newscast from Kenosha County, where I actually think we caught the tornado or a part of it on camera crossing the interstate, because you can see the waves of rain blowing across it. But again, that would also go to what you were saying, Ben, which is it's in the middle of the rain and you're not going to see it.
Earlier, we've shown you a lot of different angles of shelf clouds in Kenosha County. So I'm just wondering, and a viewer might be wondering, like this one, for example.
Phenomenal.
Is it all the same shelf cloud?
Yes.
It is. We're just seeing it from different angles.
Correct. So this is great, because from Nick's vantage point here, the cloud's going right over your head, right? So this is what I mean. So you're looking north here, so roughly north. So east is the way he's now pointing, and then west is going to be, look at the green.
Yeah,
so
what
you
does
see
the green mean?
underneath.
Yeah, what does
so
that
as
mean?
the cloud comes overhead, that's what I mean by the skies open up. The rain, the wind, the lightning, the thunder, and if there's hail in there, hail in that as well. So that's a great representation of a shelf cloud. And again, that's the strong winds and just the storm coming out the front side of it there.
So the green is the sun hitting possibly hail up in the clouds?
Excellent look there.
Yeah, that is just incredible. Look at that shot. Oh, man.
This sent to us from Nick Pitts. We appreciate that. We appreciate all the video we're sending. All right, let's I want to go back to Abril Preciado. Abril, last time we talked to you, you were in Racine at the scene of a garage fire that may have been caused by lightning. Where are you now? I can tell you it's raining for sure, but you already know that.
We're actually still in Racine. We're actually just a few feet away from the home that we were at, where the garage had that fire. That the fire department says was possibly caused by the lightning. But right now, as you guys can see, it just started pouring rain, just pouring in right now. We're trying to get situated, kind of get ready for the 9 p.m. Newscast. But yes, this is pretty much what we're seeing right now. Obviously, very empty right now, which is good. We're not seeing people outside or in the neighborhood. It's very quiet out here, but definitely this is what we're seeing right now. Just a lot of heavy rain coming in right now.
You said you were going to talk to the owner about whether they could confirm what damage was done by the lightning and what was done by the fire department trying to put out. I suspect that garage door couldn't open because they lost electricity and they had a cut. It was a very square hole, almost like an ice fisherman would make, rectangular. I imagine they cut that out so they could get in there and access the fire.
Well, let me tell you something, Ted. You were spot on, because before we left, I was able to chat up with some folks from the fire department that were still here, and they did tell me that they were actually the ones that chopped up those pieces that we saw from the garage, and they're the ones that kind of they made that hole in order to be able to go inside and put out the fire that was happening inside of the garage. So yes, you were spot on there. It was the fire department that cut those pieces off.
All right, Abril, it's really coming down where you are. We'll let you take cover and we'll check you out on the Fox 6 News at 9 and 10. Thank you so much for that update.
Sounds good.
Is that Sam's picture I'm looking at in the corner here on the weather vehicle out in the Paris area? Can we take that real quick? I think he's got a power line that's down that he just came up upon.
No, not that one.
Not that shot.
It almost looks like winter in Colorado. I'm not sure what we're actually seeing in that shot.
Do you know what shot this is, though, Jen, that they've obviously got the whole street blocked off here?
It almost looks like
I'm on my mic. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
okay,
go ahead,
Sam.
Sam. What do you got?
Are you in the Paris area, Sam?
Yeah, we're in the Paris area. So remember where I told you where we couldn't go, or again, due west of the Marsh Cheese Castle?
Yes. Yes, I do remember that.
So part of the road is blocked off here. So where we are looking is we are on 136 Avenue, where just south of here is all that video that we sent back of trees down, the flagpole snap, what have you. We are looking at Burlington Road, which is also Highway 142. And the Kenosha County Sheriff's Office sent, they sent out some information that this street is.
And I'm sorry to cut you off, Sam. Just the video that the shot that we're showing right now, I think is coming from Christina Van Zelst in Burlington, because she's in the weather car.
Ah, okay.
So if we could just get back to Sam's shot here, so he could show us those deputies again. I don't want you to be talking about something and we're showing something completely different here.
Yep. Okay, are you seeing a sheriff's deputy?
Yep,
Kenosha
we got
County
your shot now.
Pickup truck? Okay. So this is State Highway 142, which we are looking at, which is closed between 136th Avenue, where we are.
Oh, hold on,
on the east
Sam.
side,
Hold on, Sam.
all
We
the
got
way
to
west.
start Fox 6 News at 9.
With stories that matter to you.
Specialize in feet.
Pediatrician?
With stories that matter to you. Fox 6 News at 9 starts right now with breaking news.
We're following breaking news right now in Fox 6 News at 9. A possible tornado touches down in Kenosha County. The clouds, the storm sweeping right over the interstate.
And this is what most of us saw, that torrential rain, strong winds. So much lightning out there. Mother Nature, she was angry today.
And tonight, the aftermath of the storms only just beginning to be uncovered. We have live reports on the ground as communities are now surveying the damage.
You know where we're starting at 9. We got to start in the storm center. The threat for severe storms, that has passed. The cleanup, it is just beginning.
The storms leaving behind damage in many communities. Here's a look at the current We Energies outages. 21,000 plus customers in Kenosha County. You are in the dark. Racine County, you're looking at 8,600. Milwaukee County, not far behind, 5,000 customers plus. And Washington County, you fared the best. You've got about 34 outages right now.
We've got team coverage. They have been all over this storm system. Our crews are really in some of the hardest hit areas tonight.
And we have our chief meteorologist, Tom Walks, who has been on the air since this afternoon. Tom, take it away.
Hey, guys, first things first. Well, we still have a couple of thunderstorms rumbling through hard hit Racine and Kenosha right now. The severe weather is done. This is the last of the rain coming through. Oh, do you know how nice it is to say that? Let me show you what's going on right now with a look at the radar. And again, we still have some showers and a couple of rumbles just about to push out over the lake from Racine down to Kenosha. Couple of spotty showers here in our northern communities. Those are moving out as well. So all of this heading away from us here. It has been yet another stormy night across the area, including at least one likely tornado in portions of Kenosha and possibly Racine counties. Quite a bit of wind damage and strong wind gusts up in Sheboygan County as well. But I want to tell you, all watches, all warnings are done. You can see it's all off to the east now across lower Michigan and down into Indiana. So that means the storm system is moving on. I've had many questions tonight from viewers saying, why does the sky look so weird? We've had kind of a yellow or orange sky in spots. No threat for severe weather from that. That's simply the sun setting and all the clouds, the wild clouds that we have in place. So there's no worry for that, even though I know the sky looked a little weird throughout the late evening hour here, the mid-evening. We're at 68 degrees. It is humid. Our air pressure is low tonight. But again, the big story is we are quieting things down. In fact, we're going to drop into the 50s overnight. And I'm saving the best news for last here. Sunshine, dry, quiet tomorrow, 60s in the morning, 80 tomorrow afternoon. We'll have more on your forecast. We'll take a look back at these storms coming up in a few minutes. Back over to you.
We deserve some nice weather. All right, Tom, thanks. When storms pop, you can have the power of the Fox 6 Weather Experts right in your hand. download the Fox 6 Storm Center app. You're going to have access to live radar and storm cell tracking, which was great for tonight. And if it's safe to do so, snap some pictures of stormy skies or damage. You can do it right there on the app, and it is a free download.
To Kenosha County now, incredible video captured by DOT cameras showing the tornado-warned storm as it moved really fast east. That storm ended up crossing right over the freeway, likely causing lots of panic for drivers at I-94 this afternoon. Traffic grinding almost to a halt.
Kenosha County appears to be the hardest hit, with the National Weather Service reporting an observed tornado touchdown. A viewer sending in this video to Fox 6. It shows, we believe, some rotation on there associated with the storm. Our Sam Kramer was there in Kenosha County as the storms rolled through.
And he joins us live now with a look at the aftermath. Sam.
Yeah, hi there, Ben and Kim. We are in the town of Paris at the intersection of 136th Avenue and County Highway 142. As I turn this camera around, you can see here that a Kenosha County Sheriff's deputy actually has 142 blocked off right here at the east side at 136th Avenue. It's blocked on the west side at County Highway MB South, which is also 152nd Avenue, due to downed power lines. Now, a couple hours ago, we were farther south on 136th Avenue, where homeowners here in the town of Paris described what they saw. It was just incredible to see the damage. We saw trees ripped up from the roots, tipped over. We saw flagpoles, aluminum flagpoles, bent over just a couple of feet off of the ground. Even a trailer that was at the Uline facility here, just east of here in Kenosha County, appeared to be tipped over due to these really strong winds and, again, perhaps that observed tornado. We caught up with an 88-year-old man who has been living here quite some time. He described what he saw and what he heard. Take a listen.
The wind picked up pretty strong, and it only lasted like 30 seconds. You know, when this it went through and it was gone. But I see there's a trailer tipped over in the lot.
At Uline?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's maybe more than one. So, yeah, it got pretty windy. I don't know if it was a tornado.
There was a confirmed tornado around this area.
It was pretty close.
And just a quick point of contention. Observed tornado, the National Weather Service will come and confirm those in the following days. But the Kenosha County Sheriff's Office says that they expect this stretch of County Highway 142 to be closed for some time, as there is extensive damage, including several power lines down. For now, we're live tonight in Kenosha County. Sam Kramer, Fox 6 News.
Sam, thanks. And when you see those signs telling you to detour, don't think, oh, it's clear, I'm just going to drive through anyway, because it could be dangerous.
Yeah, that's a good point. Sam, good work out there. We got to get to the Burlington area. They're without power in a lot of areas, and now we're seeing why.
Christina Van Zels is live there. Christina, you also saw some downed power lines.
Yeah, we did. We actually just wrapped up talking to a couple who was impacted by the tree in the road that knocked into those power lines here in the town of Burlington. This is what we're looking at now, and it is a little hard to see because it's so dark on these streets because these homes don't have any power, but there is a tree blocking this road here, and we talked with the fire chief earlier. He said there are about 4 houses that are impacted from this. Obviously, they don't have any power now, but also won't be able to leave their homes with this tree in the road. There was a tree service company that stopped by earlier to see if they could help pick up the damage in this street, but we talked with the fire chief, and he said the good news here in the town of Burlington is that nobody was hurt. They did respond to about a dozen trees that were down. That was the main thing that they responded to, the fire department here, and then they work closely with We Energies to safely get trees removed from the power lines. The chief brought up a good point, and a reminder too, if you live near something like this, to make sure that you are not going anywhere near the power lines. That's why we're in our vehicle right now. Don't go under them, don't step on them, because they could still be energized. Now, when we asked the chief just how many trees were down, this is what he had to say earlier. Take a listen.
Rough estimates initially are anywhere from about half a dozen to a dozen. I did talk to our DPW head, and we wanted to make sure that we addressed all the road closures we need to, and that's the number that he had given me and what I have talked to the Sheriff's Department about.
So now we've switched our camera to the night vision camera to try to give you a better look at what we're seeing with the lighting. Again, hard to see because it's so dark back here. This is on Evergreen and close to Boner Lake in the town of Burlington. So this is our night vision camera. What we're seeing, we talked with neighbors who described the sound of this as a car bomb, is how the one man who doesn't have power described it as. And then also seeing the rain come in from the lake. He said it was just a wall of rain, something he has never seen before. So we'll have more from them and their interview coming up at the 9:30 hour, but just a massive tree down here in front of us here in the town of Burlington. Reporting live in Burlington, Christina Van Zelst, Fox 6 News.
All right, Christina, yeah, really impressive. I think the night vision really shows it. You can see the lines right there.
Look at this nasty cloud coming right for the Caledonia area, Wind Point area. At the time, this was a tornado-warned storm.
And we've just seen damage really all throughout the area.
And let's get to Abril Preciado. She earlier was at a garage that was, we think, hit by lightning.
Yes, that's right, you guys. Earlier today, we were, we still are here in Racine right now. We're just not that far away from where that garage fire happened. The fire department does tell us that it was, they believe that it was caused by the lightning. Now, once again, I know during our streaming part of the show, we talked about the pieces that were broken. The fire department do tell us that they were the ones that actually broke those pieces in order to be able to hose down the fire that was happening inside of the structure. But so for the most part right now, everyone is safe. We're told from the neighbors that live there that everyone is safe. No one was hurt. They're just trying to get situated. But I do want to show you guys the calm that we're sensing right now. Just before going live, there was rain just pouring in so heavily. But right now, as you guys can see, things are now calm, and we're hoping it stays that way, especially after hearing Tom talk about it. But I really want to point at the sky. Tom talked about how, weird the sky kind of looks right now. It has that color. That's what we're seeing right now, and that is something that I was seeing and our photojournalist was seeing while we were driving around the area trying to head to certain places. But this is definitely the vision and the view that we're seeing out here in the Racine area. Now, once again, we were talking about lightning. Lightning was definitely played a huge part in our role today. As you know, we covered once again the garage that was impacted by the possible lightning as well. But earlier today, we were also in Summit, where we were told by the fire department out there that they were responding to what looked like an empty shack along the lake, along Golden Lake, I should say, that was also struck by lightning. That's what the fire department there tells us. And it was quite the sight. Again, in that specific place, no one was hurt either because it was empty, it was raining, and luckily they were able to also fully contain and clear out the fire there. But once again, lightning, we've been seeing that through and through, and I'm sure even our viewers that are watching us right now can say that we just kept seeing flashes throughout the evening until right now. Things seem to be calm, and we hope it continues to stay that way. At least from what I heard over my ear, it looks like the worst is past us now.
All right, Abril, thank you. My mom actually texted me. She's like, the sky looks weird.
Yeah, Tom's right. So many people are talking about that now. Abril, thanks for pointing that out. Take a look at this video out of Walworth County. This video captured in Honey Creek, right by Lake Geneva. The storm bringing torrential rains. Look at this. There's hail in there. There was some damage in the area. The storm brought down tree limbs and power lines in Walworth County. Look what our crews came across. Yep, you can't go by that road. This video was captured in Walworth, right near Fontana.
The storm's bringing lots of lightning to the area. This video captured in Saukville. That's up the road from us in Ozaukee County. We've looped the video so you can get a better look.
And again, there are many power outages in so many communities tonight.
All over southeastern Wisconsin. We're going to check in with We Energies coming up in just a little bit. And FIFA World Cup officially underway. After all this preparation, we'll take you to the party here in Milwaukee. This guy was there. We had to